What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 288, powered by the one and only Golden Eagle Energy Drink. Get your Golden Eagle Energy Drinks at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. They sponsored all season 4 of the podcast, so please show them love and support. And let's get into it. Well, here's the thing. I had the previous episode recorded. Basically, the episode that was supposed to come out Thursday. Recorded it and then was going to add in the Drake Family Matters bar for bar breakdown. I knew the episode would probably end up being a little bit late, but I would add that in there. While I'm working on the Drake Family Matters bar for bar breakdown to add to the podcast, a bunch of stuff happens with Diddy. So it pushes everything else back and ultimately just ended up recording that episode. And now I'm kind of intertwining 2 episodes because of all the news that happened in between. So that's why we didn't get an episode on Thursday, or you guys didn't get an episode on Thursday, because it was supposed to come, but Diddy had to be Diddy and be a piece of shit of a human being. So, I had to, cover all that stuff. So we're intertwining both of those recordings into one. And this episode is going to be very long because of that. It's going to be probably, I would assume, well over 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours long. So you're in for a long ride. Like I said, initially had to split them up. Initially had to plan to split them up and just release them normally. But the bar for bar breakdowns are taking astronomical timing. Not timing, but time. Because they're just long. I mean, the Drake Family Matters breakdown is the song 7 minutes with it's 3 different songs into one, literally. I mean, the beat switches 3 different times. So that's what you're doing. You're basically breaking down 3 different songs. So that took a fat minute for me to get done, and then all this Diddy stuff happened, and so yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that's why you guys didn't get an episode on Thursday. There's just a lot, and there's probably gonna be more delays on episodes because I still got to do Meet the Grams breakdown. I got to do Not Like Us breakdown, the Heart Part 6 as well. So all that stuff is gonna delay episodes. So if you don't see an episode on Monday or Thursday, any one of those days, don't be discouraged. Don't think that I quit or just don't care. It's just a lot of catching up to do because so much. Literally, these past 2 months have been the busiest months that I've done this in my career. And I started covering YouTube-wise, day-to-day hip-hop and all this stuff in 2017. So since 2017 till now, this has been the busiest 2 months ever. I mean, I try to catch up on things, and boom, something else comes out. And boom, something else. And boom, something else. One guy beefing with this person. Diddy being a piece of shit human being again. Another guy beefing with this person. Diddler being a piece of shit again. So it's like, it's all over the place. So just bear with me, guys. I just wanted to get that out there. There's a lot that we have to go over from news, obviously, in the breakdowns. And then finally, when I'm done with these bar for bar breakdowns, I want to go over the whole Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef and just give my thoughts on everything and who I think won and what I think went wrong and all that stuff. So bear with me, but let's get into the news, and it's going to start out all with Diddy right now. We're just going to be talking Diddy. Did he do it or did he not? He did do it. Surveillance footage came out. He did this bullshit-ass apology, and, his drug mule took a plea deal, so we're going to be talking about that as well. And, Diddy just being the piece of shit that he is, that now that we know that he is 100%. He's this garbage human being that puts his hands on women regardless of the situation. There's nothing you can do to exclude this or apologize for this or anything. There are a lot of rappers that have domestic violence history or things, even producers, man. So we can't this is worse because of all the other stuff tying around Diddy. It's looking really bad, like the surrounding things with him as well, with the human trafficking, with he put a hit out on Pac, with all the stuff that's happened in Diddy's career. Let's get into all this stuff, and yeah, man, it's a hell of a ride. Time tells truth. That's what Diddy posted on his Instagram page a couple days ago, and here we are. As time goes on, the truth comes out, and Diddy is guilty as charged. CNN has exclusively premiered surveillance video that shows Diddy putting his hands on Cassie, and boy, is he aggressive. The Cassie lawsuit clearly was telling the truth, and it makes more sense now that Diddy settled it within 24 hours. Although I can't show the video to you guys frame for frame because it violates YouTube's guidelines of domestic violence and stuff like that. What I can do is read the article from CNN. CNN says this: a 2016 surveillance video footage obtained exclusively by CNN shows Sean Diddy Combs grab, shove, drag, and kick his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura during an altercation that matches allegations in the now-settled federal lawsuit filed by Ventura in November. The footage, compiled from multiple camera angles dated March 5, 2016, appears to show the rapper, producer, and business mogul during an incident that, according to Ventura's complaint, occurred at the now-closed Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles. CNN verified the location based on publicly available photos of the former hotel's interior. In the video, Cassie exits a hotel room and walks to a bank of elevators. Combs, holding a towel around his waist, runs down a hall after Cassie. He grabs her by the back of her neck and throws her to the floor. Still holding his towel closed with one hand, he then turns to kick her, the video shows. As Cassie's on the ground, Diddy retrieves a purse and suitcase from the floor near the elevators. He then turns around and kicks Cassie again as she lies motionless on the floor. About 4 seconds transpire between the two kicks, according to the video. He then briefly drags Cassie by her sweatshirt toward her room before walking away. Cassie is then seen slowly standing up. She gathers items from the floor and moves to pick up a phone on the hallway near the elevators. Sean, still in a towel and socks, returns. A mirror directly across from the security camera shows Sean appearing to shove Cassie. Seconds later, he sits down on a chair, grabs an object off the table, and forcefully throws it towards Cassie. Diddy is seen walking away, then turns towards Cassie once again when an elevator door opens and someone appears to exit. Cassie, who reached an undisclosed settlement with Diddy, declined to comment on the video obtained by CNN. Cassie's attorney, Douglas, said the gut-wrenching video has only further confirmed the disturbing and predatory behavior of Mr. Combs. Words cannot express the courage and fortitude that Miss Ventura has shown in coming forward to bring this to light. CNN has reached out to representatives for Diddy and Intercontinental Hotels for comment. Diddy has previously denied Ventura's allegations. And Cassie's lawsuit, if you go over the actual documents, detailed this in the lawsuit and in great detail as well. Diddy and Cassie were in a relationship on and off from 2007 to 2018. The two were photographed together at the Los Angeles premiere of the film A Perfect Match on March 7th, 2016, which is literally 2 days after this incident happened. According to Cassie's complaint, which cited the altercation as occurring around March 2016, Combs became extremely intoxicated and punched Cassie in the face, giving her a black eye. After Diddy fell asleep, Cassie attempted to leave the hotel room, but he woke up and followed her into the hallway of the hotel room while yelling at her. He grabbed at her and took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her, causing glass to crash around them as she ran to the elevator to escape, the complaint alleged. After Cassie got in the elevator, her complaint states that she took a cab to her apartment. Upon realizing that her running away would cause Diddy to be even angrier with her and completely stuck in his vicious cycle of abuse, Cassie returned to the hotel with the intention of apologizing for running away from her abuser, the complaint claims. When she returned, hotel security staff urged her to get back in the cab and go to her apartment, suggesting that they had seen the security footage showing Diddy beating Cassie and throwing glass at her in the hotel hallway. The complaint alleges that Diddy paid the Intercontinental Century City Hotel $50,000 for the hallway security footage of the incident. The incident was part of a number of allegations made in November lawsuit, which Ventura claimed she was raped in 2018 and subjected to years of repeated physical and other abuses by Diddy. And there you have it. The video footage makes it very clear that Cassie wasn't lying. If she made that specific details of the incident in the lawsuit, then why shouldn't we believe her on the other things that she said in the lawsuit as well? The crazy thing in this is that Diddy's son, King Combs, released a diss track called Pick a Side. And in that track, he's basically calling everybody out and saying, you guys are attacking my dad for no reason. And he ended up dissing the FBI, dissed 50 Cent, dissed Gucci Mane, and anybody else that was, against Diddy. Well, that diss track aged poorly because now that this footage is out there, it's looking really bad for Diddy. My question is, and this is a question that everybody should have, is why did it take this long for this video footage to finally be released? This happened in 2016, and we are in 2024. Nearly 8 years later, we finally get this footage. For me, the hotel should be charged as well some way in this because they accepted bribery of hiding something like this. Now, you got to also remember, if Diddy is willing to do this in a hotel lobby, which is a public area, imagine what he did behind the scenes that wasn't caught on video. That's why I believe Cassie even more. all the stuff that she said has to be true, because if he's willing to do this in a public area like that, imagine what he's doing behind the scenes privately. What this also confirms for me is that Hollywood has this secret lifestyle where they definitely do crazy things like this and pay for the evidence to get removed. I think what happened was Diddy paid for that camera footage, $50,000, held on to the camera footage. The FBI raided his house, found that footage, took it, and decided to give it to CNN. Because now in the public eye, there's no defending this guy. There were people saying that, hey, Diddy's not guilty of anything. You guys are just tearing down another black man, stuff like that. And here we are with actual footage of him doing wrong things. And there is no way to defend this. Anybody that tries to defend this just looks horrible. Anybody that ever said anything trying to defend him now looks like a terrible person. Now that this surveillance footage has come out, is there going to be more evidence that comes out going against Diddy because of that FBI raid? I'm assuming there will be, because Cassie detailed in the whole lawsuit, what she experienced. And I'm sure she recorded some stuff that eventually she's going to release. It looks like Diddy is off the hook once again. The LAPD announced that they cannot press charges on Diddy for that surveillance video footage that came out of him assaulting Cassie. The LAPD released a statement, so let's go over it and see why they can't charge him. They released this on their Instagram. Statement on alleged video involving Sean Combs, aka Diddy. We are aware of the video that has been circulating online allegedly depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman in Los Angeles. We find the images extremely disturbing and difficult to watch. If the conduct depicted occurred in 2016, unfortunately, we would be unable to charge, as the conduct would have occurred beyond the timeline where a crime of assault can be prosecuted. As of today, law enforcement has not presented a case related to the attack depicted in the video against Mr. Combs, but we encourage anyone who has been a victim or witness to a crime to report it to law enforcement or reach out to our office for support from our Bureau of Victims Services, Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, May 17th, 2024. A lot of people are wondering why Diddy can't be charged. Well, it's basically too long of time has passed. Usually there's a 5-year statute of limitations on how long a time frame can go before you can actually charge somebody of domestic violence. At least that's the law in Los Angeles. If you haven't seen the video, it's Diddy coming out of like a hotel lobby, and he's holding with one hand his towel, trying to keep it from dropping, and running through the hallway. And then he sees Cassie trying to leave at the elevator. He grabs her by her head, drags her down, kicks her a few times, grabs her stuff. Then he throws like a vase at her. It's just overall horrible, and I'm just upset at the fact that this took so long to be released. It was revealed that Diddy paid $50,000 to that hotel to have that video footage and to keep it for himself. And a lot of people are wondering, can the hotel be complicit in this, for bribery? And they can't, unfortunately. It's a stupid law and stupid rules on a lot of these things, and it makes no sense to me. I think if a hotel hides footage and gets bribed, clearly somebody committing violent acts, then they should be held liable as well. But this just goes back to the regular thing of powerful people in Hollywood can get away with things that normal people can't. If a regular person did that, they would automatically get arrested. It would be over with. But the fact that it's somebody powerful and famous and they can pay their way out of the situation, well, that's what Diddy did. He paid his way out of the situation for only $50,000. But the FBI raiding his house is probably going to lead to a lot more things, because that's where I think this footage came from. The raid, and then Diddy held the video, they found it, and they released it online. But 50 Cent has put his foot on Diddy's neck this whole time, and he's not letting go, and he has reacted to all this stuff, including the LAPD not releasing footage, and he makes a very good point. So let's go over the first post he posted, which is the video footage of their surveillance. He posted this in the caption. He said, "Now, I'm sure Puffy didn't do it. He is innocent. This proves nothing. This is what his lawyers are going to say. God help us all." And I agree. That's what the lawyers are definitely going to say. They're going to find a way to weasel themselves out of it, which they already did by having the statute of limitations go by. But, that's Diddy for you. Then 50 posted Diddy's old statement where he addressed all those lawsuits that were going on in late 2023. And he said in the caption, "The lie detector test has determined this was a lie." Maury vibes. Shout out to Maury, man. That show is classic. Then he posted the LAPD statement, and he made a good point on this. So he posted that statement, and the caption, this is what he said. "This is why they put that tape out. They know they can't charge him with what we saw, but they know we can't unsee what we saw." So that is true. Now we know that, hey, all these allegations are not just allegations. You know, we have solid proof that Diddy did this, and we can't unsee that. The court of public opinion has gone way worse for Diddy now. Like, there are people on the fence on this thing, by the way. With all these lawsuits going on, people are on the fence because there wasn't 100% solid evidence. Well, we have that now, 100% solid evidence where there's no way that anybody can say, hey, you know, Diddy's a good person. He didn't meet. No. Like, hey, he's putting his hands on this woman, beating her. And now if you look at a lot of old videos and a lot of things start to make sense as to why people thought Diddy was a bad person throughout all these years. And you have to remember, if Diddy did this in a public setting with one hand, imagine what he does in private when he has both his hands free to do whatever. He's probably, unfortunately, beating her like relentlessly. So that's just in public what we saw. I can only imagine what he's done privately and throughout all these years since the 90s till now. And with this video footage coming out, a lot more people are revealing their stories relating to Diddy. And it's unfortunate that it took this for people to talk more about it. It's very unfortunate. People should have spoken about this a long time ago publicly. But I know if back then somebody would have said something, nobody would have believed them. And, you know, people would have just moved on from the situation. But now that there's video footage, actual proof, more people are feeling confident to speak out and say something. And one of the people is producer Long Live Prince. He's an executive producer, 2-time Grammy winner. He posted on his Instagram story, I told everybody that Diddy was a ban back in 2011 when he took a pass at me over the French Montana deal. No one believed me. Diddy tried to blackball me because I didn't suck his dick. But before investigating, he didn't know my roots with the music industry and Suge Knight. What goes around comes around, and I'm still here, motherfucker. Y'all seen the videos today. Y'all should have listened to Tupac, word to 50 Cent. Then in the caption, he said, 13 years I've been exposing this man, Diddy. No one believed me till now. At that time, when you were my age, looking as good as I did, shit, he wanted my ass. But homeboy didn't know. I don't get down with none of that shit. So there's been a lot of rumors that Diddy does a lot of sexual things when it comes to male and females, just to get them to do, just to grant them the access to have, you know, Grammys and success in the Hollywood. Now, Cassie hasn't said a single word since the lawsuit settlement, because I'm sure in the settlement she couldn't say anything publicly about Diddy. But Cassie's husband has spoken out, and this is what he posted. He said, letter to women and children. Men who hit women aren't men. Men who enable it and protect those aren't men. As men, violence against women shouldn't be inevitable. Check your brothers, your sisters, and your family. Our daughters, sisters, mothers, and wives should feel protected and loved. Hold the women in your life with the utmost regard. Men who hurt women hate women. To all the survivors, find the men and women who help and love. To all the survivors, your stories are real and people believe you. To all the survivors, you're not alone, and there are men and women who care only for your well-being and safety. We want you to succeed and flourish. To all the women and children, I'm sorry you live in a world where you're not protected and you don't feel equal. I want to raise my daughters in a world where they are safe and loved. To the abusers, you're done. You're not safe anymore. You're not protected anymore. The men by your side are just as weak. You're so miserable with yourself that death would be considered a kindness. And in the caption, he said, wrote this a while back, but the words ring true, not just today, but every day. I want my kids and every kid to live in a world that's safe for women and girls, protects them and treats them as equals. To the women and children, you're not alone. You are heard. If you need help, call the domestic violence hotline. And there you have it. Cassie's husband, you know, hates what he's seeing in that video footage. I'm sure he wish he could put hands on Diddy. That's it. If the LAPD can't do anything right now, then, hey, it is what it is. There might be other stuff that comes out, hopefully, that can actually get him arrested and put behind bars, because he's gotten away with a lot of things. And the thing that Kanye West said a while ago on Drink Champs is ringing more and more true. He called Diddy a Fed, that he works with the police so that he can get away with a lot of things like this. And as the days go on, man, it's making Kanye look like a lot more of a normal person, not somebody who just speaks out on crazy things. Because, hey, look, man, we're getting proof here that this footage was hidden for 8 years so that he could escape the domestic violence charges. And I'm sure some dirty police had a role in helping him do that, because there have been stories of Diddy helping the police arrest other people and artists in the industry. So that's probably the reason why he's gotten away with a lot of this stuff as well.
But as far as Meek Mills, Puff Daddy, whoever, none of these, all you fake hard niggas, you. Hold on. Okay. All you fake hard niggas, you. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck because you can't shoot nobody anyway. And the reason why you got talk is because you did a deal, you fucking fed. You know what I'm saying? That's why you gotta come at me, because part of the deal for you to be a do all that, and get out of jail is that you promise that you're gonna go pull my co-car. So y'all niggas shut the fuck up about me.
But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll keep you guys posted on if anything else changes and any updates happen. Diddy has officially responded to the surveillance video footage that has come out from CNN of him abusing Cassie.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
And there you have it. In the Instagram video caption, he says, "I'm truly sorry." It looks like he's just accepted the fact that, hey, this is what's going to happen. This more stuff is possibly going to come out. And he's trying to save face in any way that he can. And obviously, here's the problem in this situation, right? You denied everything Cassie said in the lawsuit. You brushed it off as all she wants is money. And you're brushing off all these other lawsuits as all they want is money. But the things she stated in that lawsuit have come out as real facts. The video footage has come out. So she wasn't lying about that specific incident. If she's not lying about that specific incident, then what reason do we have to not believe her on anything else that she's saying? We're obviously going to believe her because, hey, why would she lie if she didn't lie about that specific incident? She didn't know about the footage potentially coming out. She probably thought, hey, you bought it for $50,000, which was revealed that you did, and maybe you got rid of it and nobody ever saw it ever again. But here we are. We have the footage. So it's the fact that Diddy denied all that stuff and just brushed it off as, hey, these people are trying to get money, as to why everybody is now going in on him and going crazy, because he said, I never did it. And boom, here we are. You know, now he's apologizing. And 50 Cent has responded to Diddy's apology, and he said in the caption, "This is not going to work. Who is advising him right now? Shaking my head, bad move." And like I said, man, I agree. People have made their opinion already on Diddy because all the theories and stuff. Him releasing apologies just makes things 10 times worse. I don't know who his lawyers are, but they're messing up really bad because, or either he just didn't listen to his lawyers, because I'm sure lawyers usually say, hey, don't say anything, man. Just don't, because the internet is the internet. You can't win over the internet if they've already made a decision about you. So let's just take out everything that is said about Diddy, right? All the conspiracy theories and, hey, you know, Diddy got Tupac killed. Diddy killed his ex-wife, Kim Porter, whatever. All these alleged theories that's out there. And let's just go off of this Cassie thing, right? Let's just wipe everything out and let's just go off this Cassie thing. Had Diddy just gone ahead of this thing and just said, hey, listen, what Cassie said in the lawsuit is true. I messed up. I messed up badly. Let's try to figure this thing out. I had to go get therapy. I had to figure things out. I apologize. I'm a human being. I messed up, blah, blah, blah. At least then he would have saved somewhat of his reputation and face. And that's not even factoring everything that's surrounding him, because there's a lot of stories, theories. You know, I'm working on a documentary right now that's called the Diddy $1 Million Hit, where I'm going into seeing if actually Diddy put out $1 million to kill Tupac. That's how much theories and stories and stuff that's going around Diddy's name throughout all these years. And you have to think this is the only thing that we've seen. And he did that with one hand on Cassie. And also that was in a public setting. Imagine what he does in private when both hands are free. He's probably doing all kinds of bad things to Cassie, and she's having to deal with it throughout all these years. So I'm glad this video footage came out. Diddy's apology or whatever he's saying in this video, nobody really cares for. He honestly shouldn't have said anything because it's going to backfire. Nobody cares. And here's something that's interesting. Kodak Black's lawyer spoke on the CNN video footage that came out of Diddy putting his hands on Cassie. And this is what he had to say. And this was very interesting to me. Anyone who thinks CNN obtained the video is a sucker. This was a leak, and to me, it telegraphs the fact that he's about to be charged in a bigger case. This way, if Cassie is the star witness, they can rely on the fact that she was essentially under his control. By the way, this is why this case should have been settled way before the lawsuit was filed. And I totally agree. This is just one little thing that we're getting. And the LAPD knew they couldn't specifically charge Diddy with this stuff because of statute of limitations. 5 years in LA is the time frame that you can, prosecute somebody or charge somebody with domestic violence. And here, 5 years have passed. The video was in 2016. We're in 2024. It's 8 years later. So Diddy's not getting charged anything from that video. But in court of public opinion, obviously everybody hates him now. And I'm sure the feds, after that home raid, have found a lot more things. And it's just going to get uglier and uglier as time goes on. And you can tell in the video, Diddy is scared, man. You can tell. It looks like a scripted video, to be honest with you. It looks like he's not even being really, sincere about it. He looks like he's in a place where Russell Simmons is at right now, and he's escaping a bunch of charges too. He looks like he's in the Bahamas somewhere outside of America, enjoying his life or whatever life he's going to have so far. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Are you guys accepting Diddy's apology or whatever he's even saying? He's not looking for sympathy or anything, but whatever the video is, are you guys accepting it? Do you guys think things are going to get worse, or are things going to get better for Diddy? Who knows? With these laws and how Diddy has avoided a lot of these things, it's been very interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised if he somehow weasels his way out of getting arrested and everything in general. I mean, he's damn near a billionaire. So at that point, they can just pay their way to get through things. But I'll keep you guys posted if anything new happens. Diddy's alleged drug mule has accepted a plea deal. So let's get into that. Diddy's alleged drug mule, Brandon Paul, has accepted a plea deal offered by the prosecutors that will allow him to avoid prison time. TMZ spoke to Paul's attorney, Brian Bieber, on Thursday, May 16th. Bieber confirmed that his client accepted a plea where he would enter a drug rehabilitation program and, upon successful completion, would have a case against him dismissed without any charges. Brendan accepted the prosecutor's offer to permit his entry into the diversion program, which, after completion, the case against him will be dismissed in its entirety, Bieber said. The Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office confirmed that they offered the deal to Paul, who accepted it without issue. They also confirmed that the deal is a standard one for nonviolent first-time offenders. Paul is expected to complete the program within 6 months. Last month, Miami-Dade State attorneys filed a cocaine possession charge against the 25-year-old, though they dropped another one for the possession of a controlled substance. Whereas the former Syracuse basketball player was not at the hearing, his attorney, Brian Bieber, entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. So, of course, he was arrested at the airport in Florida for possession of marijuana and cocaine last month, relating to all the Diddy stuff that's going on. So, I think he's going to be somebody that actually, speaks to the police about Diddy. I think they did this. They gave him this slap on the wrist probably because of that. They want him on their side, so he can go in there and tell his side of the story on things. Because if this guy's the drug dealer for Diddy, who knows what the fuck they're going to find out, man? Who knows? After, raiding his house, I wholeheartedly believe the FBI were the ones that released that surveillance video footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie. I believe they're the ones that did it. And who knows what they're going to have, man, moving forward. We'll see. We'll keep our eyes posted. But, here we go, man. Lots of stuff happening as the days go on with this Diddy situation. And it's not getting better. It's getting worse and worse as time goes on, as we expected. So we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything else changes. Diddy's accuser, Lil Rod, has dropped the high-profile defendants from his sexual assault lawsuit. So let's go over the article. Diddy's sexual assault lawsuit accuser, Lil Rod, has removed various high-profile defendants from his lawsuits against the Bad Boy Records mogul. The bombshell lawsuit initially claimed that Universal Music Group and its chairman, Sir Lucian Grainne, who has actually had his name run by because of this Drake and Kendrick beef, had aided and abetted Puffy in his alleged sexual abuse. But Jones, a producer who worked on Diddy's 2023 album, The Love album, has now withdrawn those names after threats of legal action. The claims against Lucian Grainne and UMG, as well as Motown Recordings, have been dismissed with prejudice and cannot be refiled. Lil Rod's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, said in a sworn declaration filed in court, based on my examination of all the papers submitted in support of both motions to dismiss, which addressed the issues I have concluded that there is no legal basis for the claims and allegations that were made against the UMG defendants. He added, as such, I have determined that the proper course of action is for all the claims and all the allegations to be withdrawn immediately. Lucien Grange, UMG, and Motown had previously sought to dismiss the case, arguing all the claims against Grange, Motown, and UMG recordings in the complaint are lacking in any legal cognizable basis. Every claim is premised on untenable strict liability theory that when one enters into a commercial contract, the payer under that contract becomes liable for anything that the recipient of the payment does with the payment. There is no law underpinning such theory, and baseless general business partnership allegation in the Second Amendment complaint provides no support. So yeah, they're just basically a bunch of lawyer lingo defending themselves, saying, why the fuck are we getting sued for something that, we have really nothing to do with. What's been interesting about this, man? I was wrong on whose lawsuit the FBI is going to go after when it comes to this Diddy situation. I assumed the Lil Ron would, because this Lil Rod one is a lot more recent. It's from 2022 to 2023. And if you look in the court documents, there's a lot of photos and presumably a lot of evidence, quote unquote, what it seemed like. But there's been a lot of the stuff that's been refuted. The video footage that he posted in the lawsuit where it shows Diddy's son, not King Combs, but the other one, I don't know, he's got like 2 or 3 boys. I don't know what name it is, but the other one, he's like dancing at a party, and in the photo, the lawsuit claims that these women are underage. The women came out and said this was in 2022. I was 24 or 25, whatever the age that they said they were. They weren't underage. There is a photo where there's blood in the bathroom. That looks a little weird and suspect. I think he said in the lawsuit that Diddy took somebody in the bathroom and beat them with a gun or something like that. So there's that there's proof of with the photo, but that hasn't been explored. As for other things, there's been what was the other claims? He had a few other claims. The photo that he put it about the gay rumors of Stevie J and Diddy doing stuff together or whatever the hell. He posted a photo of that. That was refuted. That photo was some male porn star came out and said, "Hey, that's me. It's not, what, blah, blah, blah." And then this lawyer has had a weird history of basically suing people to try to get money out of them, try to get settlements. And this is the same lawyer that, if you guys aren't paying attention right now, Academics is going through. There's been a report that came out where, he's going through a civil lawsuit from a female. And in Academics' stream, he said, he couldn't say word for word who it is because he's going through a lawsuit. But he said, hey, this lawyer, he's had a history with Diddy. And, he basically said, since I was exposing this lawyer as being a bad lawyer that just chases money and settlements and doesn't chase the facts, he's like, that lawyer and that girl came after me because of that. I don't know the truth in that, but that's the angle the Academics took, because he just got a lawsuit for defamation, sexual assault, and rape. And, I joked about it. I said, because, Academics is a Drake fan, so I posted it on my social medias. It was like certified lover boy, certified rapist. Wow, wow, wow. Just trolling. I think, obviously if Academics did this thing, piece of shit, but other than that, he does have weird tendencies when it comes to females. Like he'll act aggressive towards a female, and that's what kind of made me not really like Academics as much. I liked the path he paved for a lot of us when it comes to hip hop content creation, but acting aggressive towards a female. There's this, I don't know what clip it was, man. It was on this show, The Fresh and Fit. Those guys, those other cornballs over there. He was in that show, and there was a female with a really deep voice, and he was like trolling her, clowning her about her deep voice, and then she was basically roasting the shit out of him in a calm voice. And he was like, "I'm Big Ack. I got more money. Fuck your husband or your man, whatever. I'm Big Ack. I'm Big Ack." I'm like, bro, when you have to resort to how much you have to defend yourself. Oh, I have more money than you. I'm this. I have more cars than you. You're insecure. That's all the reality of the situation is, man. If you can't flame somebody without having to resort to you having more money than somebody, that just blatantly points out to your insecurities. Me, I've never gone to, hey, I got more money. Like, that's such a corny thing to do. And when that happened, when I saw that, it made me look at Academics in a totally different way. I was like, I used to have kind of like respect for him, but at this point, with that, like, and then there's a video footage that came of him like being aggressive with the female, and the female like slaps his hat off, and he's like roughing her up in public, by the way, and like yelling at her, and she just smacks his hat off. And if a female doesn't have respect for you, it's done. It's out the window. Like, if a female doesn't have respect for you, she's never gonna have respect for you. It's that simple. And it seems like academic struggles with that when it comes to females and stuff like that. But that's his whole situation. I don't know. I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent. I don't know. He did say that the police, criminally, the case got dismissed. So there's always two types of cases, right? There's criminally, where you can go to jail and face time, and then there's civil lawsuits. So the best way I know how to break this down, because I'm more familiar with this, is the O.J. Simpson thing, right? O.J. Simpson criminally wasn't found guilty. So he free man after the whole trial, right? Civilly, though, he got sued by Ron Goldman's parents, and he ended up losing that. And there was like a $33.5 million lawsuit that he lost. But civil, here's the thing: criminally and civil. Criminally, you have to prove without a shadow of a doubt this person is guilty in what they did. Have like a reasonable doubt type of situation, right? Civilly, though, you just got to prove 51% of it. That's it. If you just go over that 0.5%, 51% guilty. That's all you got to do civilly. So civilly, there's less restrictions and less required in terms of proof and stuff like that. But criminally is obviously a lot more stricter. So I'm saying that all to say is, if academics got, acquitted, or not really acquitted, or the police came, because he said he gave the police like video footage, and they looked through and they said he's good to go. If academics is telling the truth on that and criminally he's good, even if he gets convicted civilly, like I said, they only got to prove 51%. So, what he did and what he didn't do, I don't know. If he got criminally out of it, I kind of am siding more towards academics. I think he's kind of telling the truth more in the situation. I don't know the details, but if he's telling the truth criminally, then I kind of got to side with academics a little bit more than the female. But criminally, O.J. Simpson didn't go to jail, so a lot of people think he did it. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. I'm telling you from my point of view of how academics deals with females. It's super corny, and it comes off so whack that that's what kind of gave me disdain towards him. And I was just like, I can't, it's just weird, man. So I know I went on a whole rampage out of the Diddy thing, but that's the same thing with the Diddy. Is like Lil Rod doesn't have these type of, the proof in a lot of these things. It's seeming there's a lot of fish holes in his story, and if it's the same lawyer, that's going after academics, and academics kind of called out that lawyer, then a lot of the stuff with Lil Rod is looking a little weird and janky as well. So I don't know. I think the FBI are mainly probably going after the Cassie situation, because she was with Diddy for, I believe, over 10 years, and I'm sure she's got something. I think Cassie's the one that they'll since she's cooperating, I think that's the one that they'll go after a lot more to get more proof and information. So we'll keep our eyes posted, man. Yeah, but we'll see with this lawyer. This is the same lawyer apparently that's going after academics too. So that's why I kind of mentioned him, just to kind of be on the lookout for this lawyer, and if he's actually looking for justice instead of just money in these situations, because lawyers get paid if they can get a good case that somebody can settle. They'll get paid a lot. So that's their kind of interest in the situation. Some lawyers are genuinely interested in getting justice, and some lawyers are just genuinely interested in trying to find the easiest ways to get money out of people. And, what's the best way to hit Diddy? He's already dealing with the Cassie lawsuit, settled it immediately. That was the wrong move in settling it, because now it opened these floodgates of people wanting to sue, whether they are, actually faced any issues or not from Diddy, any sexual assault or anything from Diddy, whether or not they face it or not, they still want money out of the situation. So, yeah, it's going to look very interesting as time goes on, but we'll keep our eyes posted, and, we'll see what happens. Continuing on, BG, this is interesting, man. BG's lyrics will be monitored by his probation officer if government request is granted. So I'll talk about a little bit more about this, but BG's lyrics are set to be monitored by his probation officer if a government request to do so is accepted. The former Hot Boys rapper was released from prison late last year following a conviction in 2012 for a firearms possession and obstruction of justice. The U.S. government has now accused BG of glorifying a life of crime in the songs he has released since getting out, which they say is a violation of his probation terms. According to court documents viewed by Hip Hop DX, authorities have petitioned to modify the New Orleans native's release conditions, which could lead him to submitting all of his lyrics for approval before release. That's fucking wild. Mr. Dorsey appears to be traveling down the same road that landed him in prison in the first place, and the motion reads, while the government commends him for his entrepreneurial abilities to get back into the music industry, it has significant concerns as to how this will affect his rehabilitation as he re-enters society, which is the main reason for the period of supervised release. It appears that Mr. Dorsey is getting back into the same lifestyle that led to his long period of incarceration, as evidenced by his recently released song/video, Same Gangsta, and several others that are similar in nature. It adds, as this court is aware, Mr. Dorsey is a talented rap artist and has been since the age of 13. Unfortunately, Mr. Dorsey has used his talents to glorify the violent, lawless, gangsta lifestyle, and those include some of his associates who participated in it. That is wild. Yeah, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen... I'm off, like, here's the thing, right? I talked about this Young Thug YSL Rico thing. And, there's a whole debate on should they be able to go to look into lyrics and use that as evidence, basically, to get somebody a sentence. I argued, and I've always stand this way with it. Yes, you can do it. Because if these lyrics, if there is a way to tie these lyrics, then that's evidence. I don't give a fuck if it's entertainment. Like if you specifically, Young Thug said, what did he say? There's some bars he said where he shot outside of a parking lot. We almost got his mama or something like that. If they can find the date on that one happened, the date of when it happened, if it was a parking lot, if it was wife and Lucci's mom, whatever the case may be, then why not tie that into there? Like what else could he be talking about? Let's be honest here. Like some of these artists, they've done it such in great detail of what they're doing that they did it to themselves. Like we shouldn't protect that. If anything, you should be able to use those lyrics so it deters artists from doing this in the future. Because nowadays artists are so stupid that they'll give in detail what the fuck they're doing. But this, I disagree with. This BG situation, I don't agree with. Because basically it's every time BG has a song, he has to submit the lyrics to that song to the probation officer, and the probation officer has to approve those lyrics to be released to the public. A song released. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Now you're invading his artistic ability, his art. Especially if it's just rapping about fancy, if I rap about having a gun, as long as there's no like details, if something doesn't look like something looks off, then you could be like, okay, but he hasn't done anything. He did his time for his crime. He's out. He's just on probation right now. It's not like you guys are getting him for a RICO trial here. This is one artist that got out. So I think this is ridiculous. I think this is something that will hinder his career. That's all they're doing it. That's the only reason they're doing it for, is to hinder his career musically so that he doesn't become a rapper anymore and he switches to something else. And I hope the judge denies this because it hasn't been approved yet 100%. But I hope the judge really slaps him in the face and says, what is this ridiculous bullshit? Because this is ridiculous. This is too far. Like I said, I don't mind lyrics being used if there is a connection that can be made with those lyrics. If you can prove it. If you can't prove it definitively that these are the lyrics, we got whole documentaries out here that connect artists to killings and shit because of lyrics. Shit, I've done certain documentaries that have connected artists to certain things because of what they say. So I don't see an issue with that being used if you can connect the dots. But if you can't connect the dots, then hey man, you can't use it. I think chalking that off as like artistic, things and that's it. Nah, in hip hop, unfortunately, we've gotten a lot of these gangster rappers have gotten way too close to reality of their lives. And nah, man, you can't do that. If you're an actual killer out here, you can't be telling stories about the nights you actually went and killed somebody. Make a rap about killing people, but make it so fabricated that, people are like, oh, this is 100% fake. Say some shit like, oh, I went on a killing spree one night and dropped 100 bodies and just sprayed the fucking AK and killed everybody in sight. Some shit like that would be like, all right, this guy didn't do that. There's no way. Because 100 bodies in a day, people would catch on after you killed like 10 people. You'd be on news 24/7 trying to get caught. So, that's what I'm saying. Like things like stories like that where you can tell it's fabrication. I would do that if I was an artist that had a history of doing violence and shit. But some of these things are just too detailed and direct, man. You can easily use the lyrics. I see no issue with that, man. If you can connect the dots, do it, man, because that should deter future artists from doing it. Stop being fucking stupid and using your lyrics. You're snitching on yourself. For what? For clout, for lyrics, for a good sounding song? Come on, man. So this BG shit is bullshit. I'm getting more and more angry when it comes to this BG situation as time goes on. This probation officer hates BG's guts because she or he, forget if it was a female or a male, they, whatever the fuck, they wanted, him to, have to go through, hey, whose artists are you performing with? And, you can't be performing with this artist because of their history and this and that. Like, you're just hindering this person trying to be successful again. So we'll keep our eyes posted, but I hope this judge denies him. And if this judge approves it, everybody should be causing hell for this judge. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. Updates on the YSL Rico trial, and it looks like rich homie Quan, who had somewhat of a bad history with Young Thug, is going to testify. That's going to be interesting. He's been subpoenaed by the state to do so. So let's go over the article. Rich homie Quan has been called to testify in Young Thug's ongoing Rico trial after being subpoenaed by the prosecution. According to social media user Thugger Daily, that's funny, I don't know, Thugger Daily. Thug's former collaborator has been served a summons to take the stand at the trial as a witness. The same amount also claims that Quan has previously given a police statement that will be read in court. Quan will not necessarily provide evidence against Thug during his appearance on the witness stand. This does not mean he cooperated or will cooperate. Yeah. If you get subpoenaed, you have to kind of do it. So it's not like Rich Homie Quan's like, yeah, I want to go up there and tell whatever I know about Young Thug. So it's a little bit different when like you have to go up there by prosecutors. They kind of subpoena you to go up there. But yeah, that's going to be interesting, man. It's going to, I don't know what he's going to say. It looks like, the Same McConnell's claims release statement will not necessarily provide evidence against Thug. So we'll keep our eyes posted on this. But yeah, interesting enough, man. I don't know what's going to happen with this YSL Rico trial at this point. It's looking, I don't even know. Like, there's so much shit happening that's been, like, outside of the actual trial itself, and I think Mariah the Scientist, which is a woman that Young Thug is dating, she asked Young Thug about the beef between Kendrick and Drake, and Young Thug was listening to the songs, and he was like, he likes both, artists, and was like, they're both fire, both releasing fire diss tracks, so he's not, like, on either person's side, which is surprising to me because, Thug has obviously been more closer to Drake, has done music with him a lot more. So, he hasn't done anything with that I know of or I'm aware of with Kendrick Lamar. Has Young Thug and Kendrick Lamar made a song together? I don't think they have. I could be wrong though. Yeah, I don't remember Kendrick Lamar or ever doing a song with Thugger. That's my brother. Yeah, she told people that, hey, all Young Thug said is like it's an interesting thing. She said this, he thinks it's interesting. We were listening to some of the songs, not all of them, because now I've gotten lost. The beginning, I was like, hey, there's a tizzy going on. I played him some of it. I feel like those two people are both great rappers with all other rappers, with the guy and girls rappers, whatever the hell she's saying here. I don't even know. But yeah. He seems to be entertained by it. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if what's going to happen with this Rich Homie Quan testifying or whatever the hell he's going to do up there in the case, or whatever questions he's going to get asked. Because, like, what the hell does Rich Homie Quan have to do with Young Thug specifically when it comes to murders and shootings and killings? It's like, I think they're going to just ask him about, like, his experience with Young Thug while he was with him professionally, quote unquote. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted. New updates on the Travis Scott Astroworld lawsuit. We reported a couple of episodes ago, I believe, that a lot of the victims settled, meaning that, they got some type of money out of the situation and it's done. There's no more lawsuits. But there's one person that didn't, and that's the kid that unfortunately got killed, the 9-year-old, Ezra Blunt. And they didn't settle, and they apparently got a new trial date. So let's go over the article. Travis Scott has to appear in court in September 2024 for the final lawsuit in the Astroworld concert tragedy that killed 10 and left hundreds more injured. Rolling Stone has confirmed the lawsuit involving the death of the 9-year-old Ezra Blunt, the youngest victim of the 2021 concert, will begin before State District Judge Kristen Hawkins on September 10th, 2024, which is when jury selection will begin. In addition to suing Cactus Jack, Blunt's family is suing Live Nation, who was the concert promoter, and Apple Inc., who streamed the live concert. The child's family tried to get the case heard before September, but Judge Hawkins declared it impossible to do so due to scheduling and logistics errors on behalf of all parties. The lawsuit filed by Blunt's family is one of 10 total that have been filed against Travis Scott and the other parties involved in the Astroworld concert tragedy. Last week, it was announced that Blunt's case was the only one that didn't reach a settlement agreement. All others have been settled confidentially, including one that was scheduled to go to trial that same week. So last month, the judge denied the Houston rappers' motion to dismiss. Yeah, so Travis Scott tried to get out of this lawsuit and say, it's got nothing to do with me. Judge said, hell no, it's got a lot to do with you. So, yeah, man, September 10th, 2024, hopefully it doesn't get rescheduled, which I wouldn't be surprised, man. The court system in America is just delaying. It is disgusting. I've talked about this 10 million times. All it is delaying. That's it. Taxpayers' dollars going to bullshit and just delaying. I get it. You have to have some time to gather up evidence and all that stuff. That makes sense. But when the date starts, damn it, have it start, man. There's no rescheduling of bullshit unless something tragic happens to people involved in the case. Other than that, start the damn thing, man. You got YNW Melly, whether he did it or not, fucking locked up since 2019. Like, come on, man. What if he's innocent this whole fucking time? I've been locked up since 2019. I'm innocent in this whole thing. I'm 5 years wasting my life waiting for a fucking retrial to happen. So it's bullshit, man. It takes too much time, but we'll keep our eyes posted, and hopefully September 10th, 2024, things will proceed in this. It will be interesting to see if he's actually held liable for all these things. But yeah, we'll see. 50 Cent has been an interesting opinion person on what's been going on with Diddy and has dragged Jay-Z a lot into this. I talk about this all the time on the 50 Cent Back Down original version. He went at Jay-Z. He called, he said he likes little boys and R. Kelly likes little girls. And he's always had this kind of weird thing with Jay-Z as well. They've been cool business-wise, and then they fall off, and then Jay-Z sends subliminals, 50 Cent's direct shots, and goes back and forth. And I detailed all of it in my 50 Cent versus Jay-Z What Really Happened documentary, where I go over their whole history. But it's been like weird things, and 50 just hasn't liked Diddy or Jay-Z for quite some time. And for Diddy, it's valid. Obviously, now all the things that we're seeing with Diddy makes total sense. With Jay-Z, it's been kind of, maybe some behind-the-scenes stuff more have popped off that we don't know about. But obviously, the Super Bowl thing, it was rumored that, or at least it was kind of confirmed by Nori at Drink Champs, that Jay-Z didn't want 50 Cent there at the Super Bowl thing. Because Jay-Z has the NFL connection where he made that Super Bowl thing happen for Dr. Dre. And so that kind of maybe tensions rise even more after that. But 50 trolled Diddy and posted a photo of Diddy. This is a photo that's like very weird, man. It's a real photo, by the way. I know people are going to say it's AI, it's fake, blah, blah, blah. This is a legitimate photo that's flown around the internet. I remember since I was a kid, man. It's been a long, old photo that people have used on Twitter for ages. It's a really close-up photo of Jay-Z, and it's like right where his nostrils and lips are at and shades and whatever. And there's multiple angles of that, by the way. But he posted that photo on Instagram, and he said this in the caption. Jay-Z is in hibernation. He ain't coming outside till this shit with Puffy, a.k.a. Diddy, blows over. No brunch, no lunch, no dinner, LOL. I'm all you got, I'm outside, 50 says. I'm all you got, I'm outside. Basically saying I'm not hiding because I got nothing to hide from. And, of course, we've known Jay-Z and Diddy to have a very, very close relationship. And they've basically been besties for I don't know how long now, man. They've had these Rock Nation brunches and, we're the two black billionaires and we're this and that. And there's been a lot of things that have been saying, people have been questioning why was Jay-Z so close to Diddy all this time? And was he involved in anything relating to Diddy? A lot of people have been throwing that theory around. I mean, there's been nothing that's been proven, of course, on Jay-Z's side. There's been a lot of speculation, but you can't throw Jay-Z under the bus and say these things about Jay-Z without any proof. At least with Diddy, like over the years, there's been things here and there, and now we got solid proof of him abusing Cassie, with the surveillance video footage. So now you can be like, okay, yeah, this guy, I can kind of believe all the smoke that's been happening around him now because there's fire right there. We see it. There's the surveillance video footage. We see the fire. With Jay-Z, there's like smoke here and there, but I don't think, at least from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything really solid to prove that Jay-Z's this bad person that's done things to these type of, now behind the scenes, there's been stories of Jay-Z, swindling people and business deals and, screwing over artists and stuff like that. But that the screwing over artists things happens with a lot of like artists, man, where they feel like their deal's been screwed and this artist did this to them. And, so that's another thing for another time. But when 50 posted that, seemingly Beyonce and Jay-Z respond, and they did it in the way that Jay-Z always does, and that's subliminally. So 50 posted that, and a couple hours later on Beyonce's Instagram, she posted photos of him and Jay-Z outside. Literally a couple hours later. Because 50's saying he's in hibernation. He's not out. He's not outside. He's not doing anything. There's no photos, no videos. Boom, Beyonce does that. And she posted a reel of her taking a bunch of photos. I don't know what this is. Is this an event? She's wearing all black. Is this an event with like a Rock Nation secret brunch that's going on here? Or I don't know what the case is. But yeah, bunch of photos with a bunch of people. And that's a response specifically to 50 Cent, obviously, because literally after 50 posted, a couple hours later, she does this. So she posted that reel, then she posted actual photos that you can slide through. And nothing in the captions, just photos. As you can see, Jay-Z throwing up the Rock Nation image. The guy in the middle, he looks familiar. I forget his name. But he's probably part of Rock Nation management and all that stuff. But yeah, man, very ironic timing. The fact that 50 said that the Jay-Z's in hibernation and Beyonce responds with, photos of Jay-Z, with Beyonce having a granular time at wherever the hell they're at. Speaks volumes, man. That's the way Jay-Z has operated his whole career, man. I think a lot of artists have gotten this subliminal thing from Jay-Z, and I do think that's something that Jay-Z put into hip-hop that I don't like. I don't like the subliminals. The reason why I like Kendrick Lamar on Like That is because he went directly at people. And boom, we got a battle finally because Drake and Kendrick Lamar was 10 years of just subliminals. That's it. And I think Drake got that tactic from Jay-Z of throwing subliminal shots at people. 50's always been direct. If he doesn't like you, there's no subliminals. There's no, hey, fuck you, fuck whoever it is that you like, and that's it. With Jay-Z, it's, I take you out the game, game. Yeah, I'm the hottest in the game. Remember that Jay-Z freestyle where he's taking subliminals at game and says he's the hottest in the game? And, it's like he sends these subliminal shits, and it's cool, right? A line or two that makes you question, it's cool because it makes it like, makes you, think more about the lines. I like that aspect of it. I want more people to think about the lines and the bars that rappers are spitting because we got to appreciate them more. But on another note, it's like you're dodging people. You're just subliminally sending shots. You don't really want battles with people, And I think Jay-Z started doing that a lot more after he lost to Nas, man. Let's just be honest. He lost to Nas in the battle. Ether was just a better record overall. Jay-Z lost to that. I don't care what anybody says. To me, that's how I feel about it. And after that, it's been subliminals because he doesn't want anything on his career anymore. No, like, mark on his career rap-wise. And people can say, oh, look at Jay-Z now. He's a billionaire. He's okay, I get it, guys, whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about specifically the battle when it happened in 2001. Nas beat him with Ether. What do people say nowadays, too? When you get destroyed, you got ethered. So there you go. I think this subliminal stuff has been Jay-Z's always thing with 50 and with every artist. And he's going to continue doing that. I don't think he's ever going to directly respond to 50 ever again in any interview or anything. 50's always going to take shots at him. And 50's always been direct. He's never been scared. He's never been scared to say people's names. And that's the way I think you should be, man. If you have an issue with somebody or someone, I'm direct. If I have an issue with somebody, specifically, I will say their name. There's no subliminals that are going to come out from me because I don't like people speculating shit. So, yeah, that's my take on it. And, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything else comes out of this in the future. Speaking of 50 Cent, the Final Lap Tour broke another record. Or at least he got added into a category of artists that only 3 artists are in right now, by the way. So So let's go over the article. 50 Cent's Final Lap Tour has been officially declared one of the most successful hip-hop tours in history. Let me make that clear, guys. Let me make that clear. One of the most successful hip-hop tours in history, becoming only the fourth tour in hip-hop to gross $100 million in ticket sales. Think about that, man. Touring data revealed this. 50 Cent's Final Lap Tour is the fourth tour by a rapper in history to surpass 100 million in ticket sales. Joining Drake's Aubrey and the Three Amigos, Drake's It's All a Blur tour, and Kendrick Lamar's The Big Steppers Tour. So think about this. Drake has 2 spots. Kendrick has 1. 50 has 1. But if you look at it, it's only 3 artists in the $100 million category gross. Only 3 hip-hop artists. It's Drake, 50 Cent, and Kendrick Lamar. And who the fuck out of those 3 hasn't released new music in ages? Come on, man. Easy to tell. 50 Cent. This guy hasn't dropped an album in over 10 years. And he's getting mentioned with Drake and Kendrick Lamar. The two who just had the biggest fucking hip-hop battle in ages. Come on, man. Who else can do this? Who else all these fucking years? And I know what people are going to say. What about Eminem? What about Kanye West? What about Jay-Z? What about this and that? They never crossed 100 million. Well, by the way, people are probably wondering, what about all these big tours that Dr. Dre did with Snoop Dogg, Anger Management, and blah, 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 blah. First off, inflation. Second off, the genre is a lot bigger. More people are going to concerts relating to hip-hop than before. And third, global reach. You got to have some type of global reach to do these type of numbers unless you're Drake. Drake, I don't think, I could be wrong. He maybe just went to the UK, but he hasn't gone to like globally overseas in Europe. Let's see. So It's All a Blur tool. I know that wasn't overseas at all. That was just in America. I know that for a fact. Let's see. The one with 21 Savage. So he had like a two-leg tour. Yeah, so he had America, United States. And then he had one with J. Cole, Lil Wayne, and Lil Durk. They're both considered one, which is stupid, I think. But hey, whatever. So yeah, he never traveled outside of Canada and the United States. He didn't travel anywhere. By the way, this tour is like scheduled to make astronomical number. Like, we're not talking 100 million. This guy Drake, once the numbers are finally in for this tour, is going to generate an astronomical number. Like, that $400 million UMG deal is nothing. Like, when you look at it, based just off this tour, I'm sure they're making money off this tour. That's why they gave him $400 million. Let me see what the numbers are on this. It's going to be ridiculous numbers. But he never toured overseas. Kendrick Lamar did, though, on the Big Steppers the Big Steppers tour. He did tour overseas. He actually stopped by, quite a few places. Let me see, Big Steppers tour. I was arguing with somebody on Twitter on this, and they were saying, why are you capping Kendrick Lamar hasn't made more money than 50 Cent on the final lap? Here's the thing. Kendrick Lamar had 73 shows. All of his shows have been reported in revenue. So that's it. What he made was $110.8 million. 50 Cent's final lap tour right now hasn't had all of his shows reported. He's had 92 out of, I believe, 105. I could be wrong. Or 103, somewhere around there. I think he had 105, 103 shows, but they all haven't been reported yet. And yet he's already at 105 million. So if you do the math, he was averaging 1.1 million a show. He's going to surpass Kendrick Lamar, just basic math. So right now he's number 3 on the most grossing tours list. But when it's all said and done and the numbers finally come in, he's going to be number 2. But he's not going to last number 2 for a while. And he's going to be probably knocked down to number 3 because Travis Scott has his tour and he's doing astronomical numbers. He'll probably go over 100 million pretty soon here. But Kendrick Lamar had his tour. All 73 shows were reported. He made 110.8 million. And his tour was actually worldwide. He stopped in Italy. Hold on, no wait. So he stopped all in North America, all over the United States and Canada. Then he stopped in Europe, Netherlands, Czech Republic, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, France, Switzerland, Belgium, Scotland, Ireland, England. Then he stopped in Australia and New Zealand. So he's been all over the place. And he was averaging, I don't know what his average was, but he was, especially in America, he was making at least 1.5 million a show. But if you go over the whole list, like people broke down the numbers and said, hey, this is the thing. 50's here's the numbers right now. 50 is at 104.9 million, basically 105 million at $1.1 million average. He sold about almost 1.2 million tickets. It says here 92 out of 97 reported shows, but if you look at the full total shows, he did way more than 97. And they reported on that a while ago too. So I don't understand why they changed that number. That's the only confusing thing for me that I don't get. But the fact that people are saying that, hey, 50 didn't pass Kendrick Lamar. You guys got to look at the numbers of what's reported and what's not, man. You guys just talk without looking at numbers, and you guys have no idea what the fuck you're talking about 90 times out of 100. But Nicki Minaj also did her thing, and she's like the only female rapper to have a tour in the top 10 grossing ever. We got to remember Eminem hasn't toured since 2005, like did an actual tour, which is long overdue. I think Eminem owes that to his fans. He should do a tour. If he drops this Death of Slim Shady album, he should do like 50 did the final lap, like a one tour, just going all over the place, just to touch base with fans again, man. A lot of fans like me, who were fucking a kid when he was popping, never got to see this motherfucker live. So please do a tour, Eminem. Stop over there hiding in your damn house all day. I get it. It's comfortable. You already make hundreds of millions of dollars. We get it. But please, man, for the fans' sake. That's one thing I love about 50, right? Yeah, we don't get music from him. Okay. But at least he's out there with the fans. He does tours. He still does shows. Like, he's out there. He's we could still, as fans, we can still see him if we really want to. I feel bad for the Eminem fans who never get the chance to see this guy live ever. The guy doesn't fucking do anything. It's like, come on, man. But yeah, look, if you look at the numbers, Drake, It's All a Blur tour is already at 216 million, and it hasn't even fucking like reported all the numbers. It's astronomical, by the way. Like, the numbers that's going to come out of that tour is going to be insane. You got Kendrick Lamar and the Big Steppers, 50 Cent Final Lap at number 3, Drake and the Migos number 4 with 103 million. And then you got the Travis Scott Circus Maximus, whatever the fuck that is. It's already at 83 million. It's going to do 100 million easily, and it might be the second biggest tour. Like, I'm going to look over the numbers right now because touring data has like the dates on like how much are reported and how much aren't. And that's the important thing for me, is what has been reported and what hasn't yet, because that doesn't tell the full. Like Kendrick Lamar's tour, Big Steppers, we know they've all been reported, so that's the final numbers. But when it comes to like a lot of these other tours, we don't know the full final numbers yet, and that's the problem. So look, tours by rappers. So you got Drake at 215.9 million, number 1 spot, and that's only 50 shows reported out of 80. So it's still missing 30 shows. So you could think, and I don't know what he was averaging. I think it was like fucking 2.53 million. So he's going to go well over 300 million, maybe to $350 million on his tour. Nobody's touching that. And that's only 80 shows. Imagine if Drake decided to like fucking do a global, which I'm surprised he's never like gone globally anywhere. The Big Steppers tour has been all reported at 110 million. 50 Cent hasn't been reported yet. He's got 105 million. But the Travis Scott thing, look at this. This is why Travis Scott, I say, is going to go number 2, because he's done 38 out of 61 shows have been reported, and Travis Scott's already at 82.4 million. So he's got another 48, 58. He's got another 24 shows to still be reported. I think he's going to probably do like 120, 130 million. He's probably going to pass 50 Cent and be at the second spot, which is no surprise. I mean, Travis Scott is Travis Scott. He's been dropping music a lot more. So you got Nicki Minaj all the way at the, I don't know what number this is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At the 8th spot at 77 million. At the 9th spot at 67 million, but that's only 34 out of 49 shows for her Pink Friday 2 tour. So she's still got a ways to go. I'm sure she's going to be in the top, potentially the top 6 or top 5. I don't know if she'll do more than that, but yeah, if you look at this though, who is here dominating? It's Drake. Drake is 1, 2, 3, 4 times on this top 10. Travis Scott is 1, 2 times on this top 10. Kanye West and Jay-Z Watch Throne Tour. They did 58 shows and made 78.8 million. Good numbers. But yeah, 50 did the most shows out of everybody on this list. But he also charged the least, because he hasn't released any new music. He's not like musically relevant to charge an astronomical number. Drake can do that. Travis Scott can do that. Kendrick Lamar can do that, because they're hot right now. You know, they're the artists that people are going to spend that kind of money to see. For 50, average person isn't going to spend, you know, $400, $500, $1,000, whatever Drake gets, or Kendrick, or all these people. So 50 shows are a lot cheaper. I think the average ticket price is like $140 or $110 or something like that. They're a lot cheaper, actually way cheaper than that. I'm tripping. It might have been like $85 a ticket, if I remember correctly. Yeah, $88.98 an average ticket, which is nothing compared to what Drake and all these other people are charging per ticket. It's different. So 50 did a lot more shows, charged a lot cheaper, still made over 100 and whatever the hell he's going to end up making. I think when the final numbers are in, he's probably making $115, $120 million. Mind you, this is a guy who hasn't released an album in over 10 years. Hasn't been relevant musically in ages. What does that say? That says dominance, man. I don't give a fuck about any other artist. If anybody else in 2000, whatever, the early 2000s that did a tour, besides Eminem, let me see. Besides Eminem, Kanye West, I don't know, man. I think besides like the really, really Eminem, Kanye West, Dr. Dre, I don't really see anybody else that could do these type of numbers. Not no Game, not no William Roberts, not no T.I., not no Jeezy. None of these other artists that were popping in the 2000s or 2010s can do these type of numbers like that, man. So shout out to 50. Still needs to be updated on a lot of dates and tours, but we'll keep our eyes posted on that. But dominate, man. The third artist ever in hip-hop to get over 100 million. The fourth tour ever to get over 100 million. And, salute to him, man. Yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted, and I think Eminem should do a tour, though, man. The numbers on that would be, I think Eminem could actually still charge, because Eminem's still dropping music. He's still, I'm sure he's got newer audiences that still fuck with him because of the new music that he drops, I'm sure he got new fans from the Godzilla Juice WRLD record. I can swallow a bottle of alcohol in it. Like, come on, bro. There's some Juice WRLD fans that are really young that don't really know about Eminem. We got to think about that. There are a lot of younger hip-hop fans that never even heard of Eminem. When Eminem was in his prime, they probably weren't even fucking born. Like, I talked to somebody that was born in the year 2006, bro. Like, that guy had no idea what the fuck. 2006, Eminem was a crackhead, not a crackhead, drug addict. Sorry, not crackhead, but drug addict. Like, come on, the guy was dropped re-up, and that's it. Like, I know he had his second stint, but think about it. Recovery and relapse and all that stuff. If you're born in 2006, you were what, 4 or 5 years old when Eminem was having that second run? So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of fans that don't know about Eminem that I'm sure if he did a tour, he would still be able to charge a good amount of money for tickets and still make insane amount of money. I think Eminem could break Drake's record potentially. But then again, all Drake has to do is do a worldwide tour and actually go in Europe and stuff and add all those dates. He's only done 80 shows. Kendrick only did 73. 50 did the most shows out of everybody because he did like a world tour. So, yeah, interesting numbers, man. We'll keep our eyes posted and see these updates on like Travis Scott. I'm curious to see what he brings in. Let me see if they have the Travis Scott breakdown on here. It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, so Travis Scott's Circus Maximus now aiming for 130 to 140 million from over 1.1 million tickets and 61 shows. There you go. So, yeah, but he's doing like global too. So he's going to Manchester, he's going to Hamburg, he's going to Cologne, Germany, Milan, Frankfurt, all these areas. He's going globally as well. So there you go. That's why he's going to make 130, 140 million. So Travis Scott's going to be the second one. It's going to be Drake, Travis Scott, 50. And then down the line when other artists do tours, I'm sure 50 is going to get replaced out of the top 3. He'll probably be in the top 5, whatever the case may be. But, as time goes on, artists are just going to make more money and inflation's going to... Because look at this, Travis Scott. He performed in Atlanta, sold 100% of his tickets, and made $4.1 million off 2 shows. That's astronomical numbers, bro. So let's see what the average ticket sold for. So the average price of Travis Scott's shows, ticket sales, is $135. There you go. 50's charging $88, $89. That's a whole $40, $45 that you're charging more per ticket. So wild, man. Wild. But like I said, we'll keep our eyes posted. Just great numbers. Really cool numbers to see. Kendrick Lamar has been hit with the Drake effect. Yes, this I consider the Drake effect. I didn't consider the Drake effect the number one hit with Not Like Us. I don't think it had really anything. It did have something to do with the beef, with the battle going on, because it obviously caused a lot of hype. But if it had anything to do with Drake being mentioned, then Rick Ross would have got a number one hit. Drake himself would have got a number one hit. whoever else was beefing with Drake, Pusha T in the history, Meek Mill, whoever else would have been beefing, they would have got number one hits. But this I can see as a Drake effect, because I view not all Drake fans, but majority of Drake fans as casual hip hop fans. People that don't really deep dive into hip hop, that don't really look into a lot of artists. They just look into like those pop hip hop artists, like a Drake, like a Travis Scott, like a Kanye West, those type of artists, right? So Kendrick Lamar really isn't in their lane of music that they normally listen to, because Kendrick Lamar isn't a pop hip hop artist. He can drop hits, which he did with Humble. That went number one with him. He hopped on Taylor Swift's record, which is a more poppy type of record. That went number one, and then Like That recently. So he's had, Kendrick's had hits in the top 10 and number ones and blah, blah, blah. But, mainly he's not looking for these hits. Like, he's not a hit artist that looks for mainstream hits. But the fans of Drake, they enjoy those type of music. So Kendrick isn't their type, their cup of tea normally. But based off these statistics that are coming out, it seems like a lot of casual hip-hop fans that are just casually fans of Drake also are now looking into Kendrick Lamar, because all of his back catalog, meaning his old music from, Good Kid, Mad City, Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, they're all surging in streams, meaning new people are listening to them. New people are checking out their catalogs that never heard of Kendrick Lamar's catalog ever. I know that's a shock to some people, right? That, hey, they probably heard a song or two from Kendrick, but they never really looked into his music like that. And for me, being obviously a huge hip hop head that fucking looks into almost everything, and I'm sure a lot of you that listen are like that. I assume all of you are. It's a shock to us, right? It'd be like, whoa, you would think people would know about Kendrick. And I'm sure they know about him, but they just don't know his whole catalog of music. And this is just showing that the Drake effect, basically. This is the Drake effect in my eyes. Is these casual Drake fans that aren't really huge hip-hop fans like that are now realizing, hey, this Kendrick guy's not that bad, man. He dropped Euphoria, dropped Not Like Us, dropped these records that are dissing Drake that sound good. I like these records. Let me go check out, what else he's got. And that's where, this is all is going on. So let's go over the article. Kendrick Lamar's catalog has enjoyed a huge surge of success on the Billboard 200 chart following the fanfare around his beef with Drake. All of Compton's rappers' major label projects currently sit on the chart and have all seen significant spikes in streams and sales after increased interest in his past releases. Damn currently sits at the highest spot in number 18 from number 41 the week before. Good Kid, Mad City, which is the longest-running hip-hop studio album on the Billboard 200, is currently number 23 after being the 51st best-selling album last week. Kendrick's more recent effort, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, also has enjoyed a huge climb, rising to number 55 from 192, and To Pimp a Butterfly has also re-entered this week's chart at number 109 after previously falling out of the top 200. This is the Billboard Top 200 charts, and Good Kid, Mad City has been on there. Literally, it's the longest running hip hop studio album, the Billboard 200. So since its release, it's been on there, which is insane. So I think people that say, hey, people are just, like you'll get Drake stans. They'll say, oh, Kendrick fell off and nobody really fucks with Kendrick. It's like, here's the proof. The guy's literally got Good Kid, Mad City. It's been on the charts of the Billboard 200 for the longest ever. So that narrative is just, I don't like these narratives that stans come up with on either side. It's like, come on, man, we can't be pushing those type of narratives. Keep it fair on all ends, and that's how we're going to do it. Drake, meanwhile, continues to occupy a multitude of spots on the Billboard 200, but has seen his chart positions fall. So we reported on this, I believe, on the last podcast, might have been 2 podcasts ago, where Drake's back catalog is reducing in listeners and Kendrick's is increasing a lot. There was also a stat that just happened recently with the song Not Like Us. It actually dethroned Taylor Swift's song and Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's song, I believe, WAP. I don't know which Taylor Swift song dethroned, but it's gotten like 100 million streams in like the quickest time ever, which it beat all those 2 songs, which held the top spot. They're actually tied for the top spot at the time, but Kendrick beat them. So that I don't think is the Drake effect. I don't think that, the battle, like I said, had something to do with it, obviously because of the hype and interest, but I don't think, like, hey, if it was the Drake effect when it comes to that, then other artists would have charted and broke all these records for mentioning Drake. I do think Drake caused Kendrick to rap a lot more, and because of that, it boosts also, like, right now he jumped in like listeners. I believe he jumped like 20 to 25 million in listeners. which is like insane because let's not lie here, right? Drake is a bigger artist. Like, let's just keep it 100. Drake has more monthly listeners, gets more number one hits because Drake is just more consistent. That's just the reality of the situation. Drake is constantly out there releasing music, and that's why he's the bigger artist. Kendrick, though, takes his time, which there's nothing wrong with that. Takes his time, releases albums, and just the beautiful thing about Kendrick is that every album sounds different, which I really enjoy. It's like you're not getting the same type of formula with Kendrick. You get something totally new, and that takes time to do. That's not something you can rush and just, hey, I need to put out an album. You know, he's doing things on his own time the way he wants to do it. Drake, on the other hand, every other year he just like drops an album, stays consistent, which works too because he's delivering hits and people are still liking his sound. But that because of Drake being that consistent, he's become obviously a lot bigger as an artist. I don't know about worldwide because I think in Japan, Kendrick is bigger. That's just based off what I've seen at least. And then, I don't know about the rest of the world, but Drake, in America at least, in terms of numbers and everything, he's way bigger. More hits, more everything. But it's that those casual Drake fans are starting to trickle down to Kendrick. So the question is, who had more to gain or lose in this battle? And that's something I'm going to be talking about when I finally go over this battle, which I will after I break down all these tracks. I want to break them down completely, get those videos out for you guys. And then I'm just going to talk about the full battle of what I feel, who dropped the better diss tracks, who was more consistent, who was smarter, what are the results, what's going to happen 5 years from now, my predictions of how this will affect Drake's career or Kendrick's career in the negative or positive. And, I just want to break that down because I think it's one of the most interesting. Obviously, it's the biggest hip-hop battle we've had for ages. I'm talking probably since Nas and Jay-Z or 50 and Ja Rule. Like, other than that, there really hasn't been anything at this level that's been really great. So, yeah, we'll see, man. We'll keep our eyes posted, but obviously it's boosted a lot of Kendrick's streaming here, and I think it's going to continue to do that, especially with this Not Like Us song, man. If he shoots a video for it, it's going to continue its reign at the number one spot. I think there's a Post Malone and Morgan Wallen song that released, and it's doing astronomical numbers. It's scheduled to debut at number one, which is kind of weird, but because I've never heard the song. But that just shows you there's two Americas. There's two different sides of the world that listen to different types of music. Me personally, I don't really check for Post Malone anymore. I used to because he had a little bit of hip-hop sound in him, but now he went full country and just whole different pop records. And then Morgan Wallen I don't really listen to like that either. So they got their own thing. That's the different side. But he's scheduled to debut at number one, and that's probably going to take over Kendrick's Not Like Us reign for a little bit. Unless he shoots a video or kind of pushes it more. What's funny in this is Kendrick stumbled. I don't think Drake really expected Kendrick to come out with a club hit dissing him. I think that was the least. If you look at a chessboard, right, and you look at pieces, and you try to at a chessboard, you try to guess what your opponent's going to do with his moves. I think the last piece that Drake was even thinking Kendrick was going to move was dropping a club banger. That just doesn't make any sense, on Kendrick's side. But he did that with Mustard on the beat, ho. So it's this whole battle's going to be interesting when I break it down, man. I have so many thoughts and different things about it that it's gonna be something else. Once I finally get these bar breakdowns out of the way, I will dedicate probably the whole podcast breaking down the whole battle, what I think, and hopefully my predictions. We'll look back on them, a couple years down the line and see if I predicted things right. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted on this and see if Kendrick continues to have his dominance over Drake. Eminem, he is doing some really, really cool album promo rollouts. The album that's coming out is The Death of Slim Shady. It's scheduled to come out sometime this summer. We don't have an official date. I'm hearing rumors of June or July. I think July was actually the rumors that I heard, but not June. And I don't know if he's going to do any, he released a trailer for it, which is cool. That's kind of promo for it. Now he's done this thing that I'm about to read, which is cool and promo for it. But is he gonna just randomly release the album, or are we gonna get a single, or is he gonna go old school and try to actually promote it, or just release it? It's gonna be interesting to see. So there is an article published in the Detroit Free Press, and it was an obituary written in promotion of Eminem's Death of Slim Shady album. The brief article, which was accompanied by a picture of Eminem wearing a hockey mask, reads, "Fans, we will never forget controversial rapper, a product of Detroit, who began his career there as a rogue splinter in the flourishing underground rap scene of the mid to late 1990s. Shady first became a household name in 1999 with the debut of his playfully deranged single My Name Is, which along with its uniquely eye-catching video exposed the young artist and his lyrics to a wider audience. The obituary continued saying, ultimately, the very things that seemed to be the tools he used became calling cards that defined an existence that could only come to a sudden and horrific end. His complex and tortured existence has come to a close, and the legacy he leaves behind is no longer to resolution than the manner in which this character departed this world. May he truly find peace in an afterlife that he could not find on earth. This looks like Jason, like literally the artwork. It looks like Jason, obviously with the ski mask. It's like Jason died or something. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a theme on Jason, like something relating to Jason, because I'm just excited, man. I hope this is a mainly Eminem produced and Dr. Dre produced album. I don't want outside producers. I hope it sticks to its roots of what Slim Shady is. As for features, 50's in the trailer, so I hope 50's on the album. That'd be amazing. Who else would compliment a crazy? Honestly, who is a crazy character that somebody could? Nicki Minaj, believe it or not, can come up with the crazy. What does she have? Roman, I think her name is. Somebody who can come up with this psychopathic that can compliment him really well. Tech Nine's pretty good at that. Why is there no artist popping in my mind that does this type of stuff? I'm tripping right now. Tech Nine, Nicki Minaj. There are a lot of artists that can kind of do these different, characters or whatever really well. And those two automatically pop in my head. Tech Nine and Nicki Minaj with Roman. I just hope we get, the last, if this is the last of Some Shady, we get something really, really dope, man. Just based off the promo, the way this album's getting promoted, the album title, the trailer, I'm liking it so far. I'm not saying I'm loving it, but I'm liking it a lot so far. So, I hope it doesn't disappoint me, man, because this is something that I'm really excited for, and I can't wait to hear it. So that's it, man. He dropped a little Detroit Free Press thing in the newspaper, and, I'm sure the next thing will be something relating to the actual release date of the album. So, we'll see. I think he's actually going to at least let us know the release date. I don't know if he's going to drop a song off it. It'd be really cool if he did, but at least the release date we'll get, and then later on we'll see what happens. And also, as of the recording of this podcast, Eminem's Relapse is literally 15 years old. So speaking of Slim Shady, that's 15 years old. It came out May 15th, 2009. We are, as of the recording right now, May 15th, 2024. So 15 years ago, Eminem released his sixth studio album, Relapse. And I constantly fight with myself all the time. Is this Eminem's best album? I know some people are going to say, Quake, what the fuck are you talking about? Quake, I agree with you. There's no in between on this. It's either you love this album and you love what Eminem was doing with it, or you completely despise this album and think it's one of his worst. And I'm not faulting you if you think it's one of his worst albums. I have no issue with that. I'm on the other side. I think it's one of his best albums. I think it is a fucking cinematic masterpiece. I've never listened to interludes on albums like that. This album, I listened to the intro, the interludes, everything. Just the intro is so hard. It's, that's the doctor coming in. Oh, how's it going, Marshall? It's such and then you hear in the background, horror sounds. Let me play it. Let me see if I can play a little bit without getting copyrighted. I fucking love this album's intro. I think it's called Dr. West or some shit like that. Yeah, Dr. West. So it starts out with a Dr. West skit. See?
Morning, Marshall.
Morning, Marshall. It's such fire, bro. Just that is and then Eminem, the way he sets it up, he's it's basically the devil talking to him, trying to get him back on drugs. And let me play a little bit more of that of it.
Well, 12. Christ, I don't even know them all. Really. Anything else? The only other question I get tempted to...
Take a drink.
What?
Take a drink. Take the edge off.
Take the edge off? Man, if I have a drink, I already know what that's going to lead me to.
What, you mean these?
What the fuck?
Marshall, what's the matter?
See, it's a cinematic, bro. This album is just... The music in the... It's horror music. It's perfect. And then it goes into 3 a.m. in the morning. I love this album, man. And I argue with myself, hey, should this be Eminem's best album of all time? Because I love the Eminem Show. And that's where I fight. Eminem Show or Relapse. Eminem Show or Relapse. I go back and forth. But I love Eminem Show, man. You can't. That album just at its peak, the guy is literally giving us what an artist at that level is experiencing, which is a rarest thing ever. He painted the picture of his whole life at that point of view, like perfectly, man. Which is like something he doesn't get enough props for, I think, in my opinion, even though the album sold astronomical numbers and went on to sell fucking the most ever. But man, everything about this Relapse album, just like the storytelling, the voice acting, the cinematic sounds, like it's a fucking movie. So shout out to Relapse, man. 15 years old. I'm going to start bumping this album again. 15-year anniversary. Hopefully for the 20-year anniversary, I can do a documentary on it. I would love that, man, because I would ask Eminem, where the fuck is Relapse 2? I want that. Even Relapse Refill has fire tracks on it, man, which is like kind of half of Relapse 2. It's before people would do those deluxe albums now. That was basically the deluxe version of like an extra deluxe version. Because I know Relapse came out, a deluxe version came out with Relapse. And then eventually like 7 months down the line, Relapse Refill came out, which is like 8 more tracks or some shit on it. But regardless, amazing album, man. So shout out to Eminem for that, and I can't wait for the death of Slim Shady. We'll keep our eyes posted if anything comes out more relating to that. 21 Savage, he's actually been going through quite a few different beefs himself. Well, really with Soulja Boy, but he did speak. He went live on Instagram and he spoke on the whole Drake and Metro Boomin thing and decided to give his 2 cents on the situation. So let's play the clip.
Bruh, hey, don't keep coming on my motherfucking live. Talking about no motherfucking beef. Metro, my brother. And Drake, my brother. Them niggas gonna figure that shit out eventually.
Now, it's interesting he says that on Instagram live, and he just says, hey, they'll figure it out eventually. I'm not going to take either side. But he did appear on Math Hoffa's podcast a while ago and got asked, hey, if there was a battle or an issue between two people that you really, are friends with, would you pick a side? And this is what he had to say.
But if you fuck with me, I fuck with you. Like, I ain't.
How does that work when you fuck with somebody who got a problem with somebody else that you fuck with?
I'm gonna try and squash it first. I'm gonna try and figure out a way for them to get rid of the problem. Cause I ain't no fake nigga, so it's like, if you got a problem with him and I fuck with both of y'all, but I fuck with him a little harder, I'm naturally gonna be like, man, fuck Hoff, man. Just naturally me. So before I be fake and be in the middle, I'd rather squash it like, bro, just squash it with him so I don't gotta say fuck him too. Type shit. Cause I got to say fuck him. I got to say fuck him. There's no way I can be cool with both of y'all like and just play the middle. I'm not no.
There you go. This is when your words come to haunt you in the past. It's going to be interesting to see, man. As the months go on, will Metro Boomin and Drake figure things out? I know Metro Boomin tweeted something along the lines of, he basically tweeted at Drake and said, why we have issues. And I can't really say them in public, but the reason why. So there has to be something deeply rooted in this Metro and Drake situation. I don't think it's simple at the surface level. Because on Family Matters, Drake, obviously, we'll talk about the bar breakdown later on, but he addresses Future and says, I don't really understand where the Future fallout came because we didn't have anything. We didn't have any issues. So clearly something's going on with Metro and Drake really that's deeply rooted, but 21 Savage is saying, hey, eventually I'm going to have to pick a side in this situation. I can't be in the middle because that's fake. So who is he going to side with? I think he'd side with Metro Boomin because they've been together for a lot longer than Drake. Now, career-wise, I don't know. Is that going to be a better move? Metro Boomin is literally, I think, the hottest producer right now, period. So it might work. It'll help him. Obviously, it keeps Atlanta united and everything. But, you guys have success together. You and Drake have had a lot of success together. So I think it's the best approach is the 50 Cent approach. Just don't comment on it at all. Don't say anything. And if they try to drag you into it, just kind of stay. Because 50, when Lil Wayne and Birdman were going through it, 50 said, their relationship has been so long that they're eventually going to figure it out. And then they're going to get mad at whoever side, was taken at the time. So like Rick Ross, for example, he took Lil Wayne's side and said F Birdman. And now Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, and Birdman are not cool with each other. None of them. Because, you say F Birdman, Wayne's like, I'm back cool with Birdman, and you said fuck him, so fuck you. So it's like, don't, if it's a relationship that's been lasting for that long, eventually they're going to make up, man. It just takes a little bit of time, figuring out what's going on and just stay out of the situation. And I think maybe the same thing with Metro Boomin and Drake. I don't know. They worked with each other quite a bit, but I don't know how long the relationship is with them two and how deeply rooted it is. What's the situation that happened for them to hate each other? There has to be something deeper than the alleged start of this, which was Metro Boomin getting mad at, I think, Drake and 21 Savage's album Hurt Loss winning awards over his Spider-Man album that he had, the Spider-Man soundtrack. I think that was where it started. It's something along the lines of that, like, why is he getting album of the year when I did more numbers, whatever the case may be. Something along the lines of that is how it started. I'm not, quoting it word for word here, but it was something along the lines of that. But the Metro Boomin, when the battle really started, said, hey, Drake, what the reason is. It's something deeper between us that's going on. So, it's going to be interesting to see where 21 Savage just sits with this, man. With a lot of these relationships, it's going to be interesting to see how Drake, mends all these relationships if he can, if he wants to, if he does or not. Is it going to affect his career or not? We'll see. But, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted on that. Continuing on with 21 Savage, it looks like him and Soulja Boy are going back and forth. And basically, 21 Savage has stepped in because it started with Metro Boomin. Soulja Boy decided to clown Metro Boomin over some old tweets. And I think a lot of the irrelevant artists like Soulja Boy are trying to insert themselves in this whole drama with Drake and Kendrick in hopes that they can, get some type of momentum going for themselves. It's unfortunate the way Soulja Boy is doing it because he calls out Metro Boomin's mom, and it was on Mother's Day that he actually did this. And, he clowned, Metro Boomin's mom got killed by his stepfather, who's not related to Metro Boomin. It's not his real father, obviously stepfather. And he ended up killing his mom and himself in a weird, homicide, suicide type of thing. So, which is a horrible way to have your mother go out, obviously. I'm sure that affected Metro Boomin, trauma-wise a lot. And Soulja Boy decided to clown him on that and basically did something that the whole internet disapproved of. Everybody was on Soulja Boy's ass for it. And 21 Savage decided to step in for his friend. So let's go over the article. 21 Savage has hit back Soulja Boy after the Cranked Out rapper threatened to smoke him. Soulja launched in a vicious rant against the Slaughter Gang boss on Sunday, May 12th, after he defended his close collaborator, Metro Boomin, from a similar online attack. In response, Soulja Boy called out Metro Boomin over a shady tweet from over a decade ago and given him 24 hours to delete it. And 21 Savage said, or what? What are you going to do if he doesn't delete it? That led to Soulja Boy letting his sights on the Atlanta rapper star on Instagram Live. So let's play the clip. It's a bunch of cussing, so I'm not going to play a lot of it.
Set the fight up. I'll beat the fuck out you. I will beat the fuck out you, 21. You's a bitch, you 21. And you want to take it to the streets? I will smoke you. Streets, I will smoke you. Talking about. Really was in the streets. You ain't even from Atlanta.
Yeah, a bunch of, cussing and stuff. And then 21 Savage decided to respond, and he went on his whole Twitter account and decided to attack him. He posted a photo of Soulja Boy's net worth being in the negative, and the judge suggesting that the rapper cut expenses to pay $472,000 he owes to a woman, which is that domestic violence lawsuit. And then he followed that up and said, speaking on a guy's mama like shit a game, you gon' shit on yourself when I see you, boy. So this is obviously referring to that Soulja Boy tweet. And let me actually go to Soulja Boy's account and read that tweet if he still has it up word for word. He did apologize for that tweet after, just actually today. So let me see if I can find the actual tweet. He might have deleted it. I think he did delete it. It's very disrespectful. I mean, we know how Metro Boomin's mom got killed. So, yeah, it is deleted. All that stuff's deleted. But today he said, I apologize to Metro Boomin for overreacting over an old tweet. Condolences to his mom. I'm going to seek therapy and anger management. I'm done responding to hate, new or old. Now, after saying this, he decided to go on Instagram live again and decided to double down on attacking 21 Savage. So he took his sights off Metro Boomin and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to apologize, Metro Boomin, for what I said because it's disrespectful, but still, it's still F 21 Savage. So let me play that clip.
And it was hella niggas coming at me then. Hella niggas. Y'all know who was speaking on my name around that time. And I did not respond, not one time. So I'm done responding, bro. Call it what y'all want to call it. But a nigga ain't gonna play with this shit, bro. A nigga ain't gonna play with this shit, bro. Simple. You feel what I'm saying? And 21, you still a bitch. Fuck you talking about? 21, you still a bitch ass nigga. Fuck you, puss ass nigga. I just ain't like what I said about the Metro shit. I ain't gonna lie, that was kind of, you know. I look back at that shit and I was like, damn, that was kind of fucked up. But 21, you still a bitch, nigga. Fuck you, nigga. This ain't had nothing to do with you, pussy nigga. And I ain't say sorry because of you, pussy boy. I said sorry because of myself, nigga. So yeah, you still a bitch, nigga. Still slapping the fuck out you, nigga. That shit was just fucked up what I said about the nigga mama, but fuck you, nigga. You still a bitch. And Meek Mill, mind your motherfucking business, nigga. Ain't Diddy playing in your booty hole, pussy boy? Huh?
So like in internet fashion, if somebody apologizes, people clown you and say you're scared, this and that. So Soulja Boy decided to double down and say, I didn't say sorry because I'm scared of 21 Savage. I said sorry because I felt bad for what I said to Metro Boomin about his mom. Okay, so still, the 21 Savage and Soulja Boy thing is still on, so we'll keep you guys posted, but honestly, this is just another one of those Soulja Boy antics to get people talking about him, and then move on, and everybody kind of moves on from the situation and never talks about it again, which has happened in the history of Soulja Boy 90 million times. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Golden Eagle for sponsoring this podcast. Yes, if it wasn't for Golden Eagle, this podcast wouldn't be possible. If you're looking for an energy drink that doesn't tear a hole in your pocket, Golden Eagle energy drink is the one you want to get. Golden Eagle has the smoothest taste with no aftertaste. You don't get acid reflux when you drink it, and you will save a lot of money. So check out Golden Eagle at drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. The link is in the description below. And how do you think this podcast would be possible without me having energy to do it? Come on, guys. You guys got to remember this. I need energy to do this stuff, man, because there's a lot of crazy topics. So look how smooth this thing sounds. Look at it. Oh, my God. It's fresh. Look at that Golden Eagle. Look at the can. It's so beautiful, too, man. Look at that. That's so fresh, man. So fresh. Golden Eagle energy drink. Go to the link description below. That's drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Let's continue the episode. Another person that randomly inserts himself into things at a weird conversation is Meek Mill. Meek Mill decided to attack 50. And the reason why he decided to attack 50 is because 50 decided to respond. He responded. Make this clear because Meek Mill doesn't understand what's going on. You know, Meek Mill is slow in the head. You know, I think he's got some CTE or something going on, but he's slow in the head. Meek Mill attacks 50 for 50 attacking Diddy's kids, but 50's just responding to Diddy's son that dissed him on the track. That's it. 50 throughout this whole time has never mentioned Diddy's kids. Even when they got arrested and raided, didn't mention them. He actually said in the caption, like, whoa, this is crazy that they're even messing with the kids. They shouldn't be doing that. I think he said something along the line. He's actually defending Diddy's kids. He's actually put Diddy's kids in acting gigs from stars, from shows. So he's always showed love to the kids of Diddy. He's never like really ever, he doesn't mention people's kids like that because he doesn't like when his kids get mentioned. So that's a whole different story. But he never mentioned them, and then Meek Mill jumps out the window and says, why are you attacking somebody's kids? Well, if you don't know the history of how it even started, why are you jumping into this? So what happened was King Combs, a.k.a. Diddy's son, dropped a diss track called Now That We Know. It's called Pick a Side. Because at the time when I was doing the last podcast, it just came out, no title. We dropped that Pick a Side, dissing 50. 50 then went on Instagram, which I covered on my last podcast, clowning him, saying, you drugged women. You're over here. Why are you talking? You and your dad, I'm scared of your dad. Don't attack me because he killed Tupac in a joking way. Whatever. Just basically clowned his son. Then Meek Mill just inserts himself into this out of fucking nowhere and just randomly starts tweeting shit that makes no sense at all. He says 50 posted the little, Instagram post about, clowning Diddy's son and stuff. And then Meek Mill quoted it saying, because you're federal. The street guys in Queens know that's why you're trying to pick on a little boy. So basically he's calling 50 Cent a cop. He's a federal informant. Which is the funniest shit ever coming from a guy that is signed to a correctional officer or to a former correctional officer. That makes absolutely no sense. Meek began in a series of since deleted tweets saying, your own son hates your guts. LOL, I'm so grateful to be on an island with my son and his friends on his B-Day. Don't follow these guys. Their miserable lives be terrible. In a second post, he added, y'all guys 50 online beefing with kids. Of course, y'all guys left all y'all friends and family behind. Y'all holding the culture back for real old hating, manipulating guys, LOL. I say what I want because a war come behind me if that's the case, LOL. But y'all got that rap shit too loose. Somebody gonna die and y'all gonna be calling Farrakhan or y'all federal friends just because y'all not hot no more. Tearing y'all folks down, all y'all can do. You concluded by calling 50 mentally sick and a rich parasite. 50 then responded and posted a photo saying, you sold 6,000 copies your last project. He's talking about Meek Mill's last album. So I really want to see if he actually did sell 6,000. I don't think he did because I don't remember Meek Mill selling 6,000. He said, you should not be on vacation, still chasing the dream or embracing the nightmare, which is very hard flip on Meek, man. That's a hard flip. Still chasing the dream because, dreams and nightmares, this whole thing. Standing by your man, I respect that. And then 50 then also posted a photo, a video, not a photo, of when Meek Mill's rapping. It's a viral clip where Meek Mill's rapping about he's rapping about some sexual things, and then Diddy turns around and looks at him in a very weird way. It's probably one of the funniest things. He ended up deleting it, but he basically said, I applaud you for standing next to your man, like a real woman would do. He said something along the lines of that, which is fucking ridiculous. And then Meek Mill responded to those and said this: my last project sold 90,000 first week. Expensive pain. Ross did that last CD for fun to let me out my contract because we rich and we have some type of history. It's different, LOL. I don't even know how Cuban was talking to you. Your swag is extremely whack. Who the fuck is Cuban? Mark Cuban? But let me stop. He said, I never seen black people laugh at black people getting indicted. He really be online enhancing people's cases. And he got real statements against guys. You ain't freed Mike Knox yet. Everybody onto you. But let me stop. These guys y'all look up to, these people that destroy black families and success, like black cops, I don't find them funny. I see them as rich parasites. Guys be rooting for guys to go to jail and claiming he's from the street. And they just went on a bunch of things like all they post is bad things about me. But you do this to yourself, Meek. You be saying the most dumbest, do your research. Before you jump in on this and say 50's attacking Diddy's kids, why don't you look at what happened? Diddy's kids his kid dissed him first and decided to go out on the limb and attack him. Now he's defending his father, cool. But 50 and Diddy have always had a bad relationship. And 50 always clowns people. Doesn't matter. He just posted today about Jay-Z. He posted a weird ass photo of Jay-Z's, which it is a real photo, by the way. This is an old photo of Jay-Z's face really close, and it scares the shit out of me. Big, lips, camel lips that everybody calls Jay-Z. Big nose, and it's really close to him. I think a photographer took this photo in a very weird lighting, and just it's bad, man. And people, of course, clown Jay-Z about this, his features, all that stuff. And then 50 posted, Jay-Z is in hibernation. He ain't coming outside till this shit with Puffy blows over. No brunch, no lunch, no dinner, LOL. I'm all you got. I'm outside. So 50 saying, listen, I'm not scared of all the stuff that's going on. You guys got allegations against you. That's why you're hiding. And 50, before I know some stuff that 50 said about Jay-Z that hasn't been released yet. And it was on the Back Down official original version of the diss track. And on that track, he alleges that Jay-Z likes little girls. So that's a whole pedophile type of thing going on there. Imagine if 50 released the original version of Back Down and claimed Jay-Z was a pedophile at the time. Because, he said R. Kelly likes... No, he claimed Jay-Z likes little boys and R. Kelly likes little girls. He says on the song, R. Kelly likes little girls, Jay-Z likes little boys. That's why they had a song called Girls, 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 some shit like that. He says, I don't remember the lines exactly, but something along the lines of that. If Back Down, the original version, ever gets released, you can quote me on some bars that I've mentioned quite a few times. But yeah, 50's always kind of called out people that he thinks are bullshit, and he's never really been shy of it. And Meek Mill inserting himself to this stuff makes no, the points that he makes absolutely no sense 90% of the time. You're talking about federal, but you work with a correctional officer. You're talking about relationships with his son, which is public. Everybody knows that already. And, 50 kind of explained the situation there, but he's got kind of 50 on that. Hey, I have my kids, you don't, blah, blah, blah. Cool. And then, just inserting himself in stupid shit that makes no sense. But yeah, that's Meek Mill for you. I think he He has moments where I'm like, what is he doing? And then he has moments where like I'm like, what the hell's going on? Let me see what 50 said about the 9,000 copies, because that has to be false. I know 50 be trolling and shit like that with the copies. He'd be lying on a lot of these album sales. What was the last album he released? Let's see if Meek Mill's telling the truth, too. Last album he released was Expensive Pain, which is right. He ain't lying about that. Yeah, it debuted at number 3 with 95,000 sold. So that's, in terms of Meek Mill, that is false. In terms of the collab album, they didn't even do 9,000 copies. They did more than that. They did, let me see. Let me see what the sales. If I remember, it was like 30,000, if I remember correctly. Where's the sales on this? There's no fucking sales on this? Come on, man. Too good to be true. First week sales. Yeah, 31,000. So, 50's trolling with that 9,000. Copies thing. I do think or 6,000. He didn't even say 9,000. He said 6,000 copies. He's trolling with that. That's not true. That's not facts, Fifth. You know that. And I even doubled down on saying that I think 50, I love, obviously 50's my GOAT, love him, blah, 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 but 50 hasn't released the album in a really long time. I know he's focused on business. It's not his thing anymore. I get that. People are going to comment, oh, Quake, he's not focused on music. He's never going to drop an album again. I get that. But you can't be clowning other people's album sales and you haven't released an album in ages. That's kind of counter, like all Meek. See, if Meek was smart, all Meek had to say was, when's the last time you dropped an album? And let's see how much it would sell. That's all you got to say. If he's going to clown you about album sales, be like, why don't you drop an album? You haven't dropped an album in 10 years. And when you did drop an album 10 years ago, it did 45,000 first week. Imagine what you're going to do now. Probably less. That's what I would troll 50 on. Because let's be honest, 50 hasn't dropped an album since Animal Ambition 2014. Streams weren't counting at that time. Streams didn't start counting to album sales till like 2016, 2017. So at the time, that was pure album sales, physical. Great numbers, right? 45,000 independently with no label behind him, just G-Unit Records. Carolina was distributing the album, meaning just printing out copies. No promotion, just straight G-Unit Records, 45,000. And he released all the songs before the album's release, which is, now 50 calls it a mixtape because he said that in a recent interview. Oh, that was more like a mixtape because it didn't really perform that well in sales. But that was an album. That was promoted as an album. We all thought of it as an album. So 50's capping on that. Now, you could say that is his first independent album, actual album independent. Yeah, you could categorize it as that. But 50 in today's time, if you were to drop an album, he definitely want to do 6,000. I know he'd do more than that. But 50, drop your nuts and drop an album, man. Do something like that. Show us what you can do in sales. I would love it. Obviously, for me, I'm using this as a way to try to get you to drop some music because I want some new music from you. Damn it. So stop talking about album sales and drop an album. We would love that. Eminem's trying to get you to drop an album. So drop an album, man. I want to see what you do first week sales. I honestly don't give a shit if you sell 5,000 or 100 million copies first week. Actually, if you did 100 million copies first week, you're the GOAT, but you know what I mean. I don't really give a shit about sales. 50's already succeeded. I don't think He's, I think, more focused on sales. He puts an emphasis on sales because before 50 came around, people didn't really pay attention to sales. They didn't really give a fuck. Like, that wasn't a focus at all. When 50 came in the game, it was all about sales. How much did you do first week? Oh, I did this. And he was dominating. So why not talk about first week sales? And then that became part of, like, hip-hop culture, talking about first week sales. Because before that, nobody gave a shit. I'm going to be 100% with you. Nobody gave two fucks about sales. They could care less. Now, do people talk about, oh, my album went double platinum and gold? And yeah, but they never talked about, oh, I did first week, I did this. They never talked about it like that. I mean, if you look at back in Tupac interviews, I think there was a moment where he talked about, yeah, we went double platinum, stuff like that. But they never talk about like, oh, I did 600,000 first week, I did 400,000. Like, that came once 50 came in the game. But I would love to see what he would do in numbers. I think anything below 30,000 would be a flop. I think 50,000 copies would be good, not bad, and not. It wouldn't be bad and it wouldn't be good. It would be right in the middle. And then anything above 50,000, like if you did 60, 70, 80, 100, I would see as a success to me personally. But that's, that's everybody's interpretation. I think under 30,000, that's a flop for 50. 50,000, you're right in the middle. And then if you do anything above that, to me, it would make sense that you were successful because you haven't dropped an album in ages. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything comes out of this. But it's probably just going to be another one of those things that people talk shit. And Mike Knox actually stepped up for 50 and dropped a diss track towards Meek Mill. So that whole Mike Knox thing was false. And then Meek talking about, 50, snitching on people. We have disproved that 90 million times. He never has as well. So, Meek's just talking just to talk. So we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything comes out of that. And finally, we are going into Drake's Family Matters diss track towards Kendrick Lamar and a few other people. Of course, I start breaking down the artwork, title, and then we'll get into all the verses. Mind you, this is a very long track, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to break all this stuff down. So if the video is long, that's just the reality of it. It's a very long track, a lot to break down. First, let's talk about the title, Family Matters, and this is Drake poking fun more at Kendrick Lamar's family and the fact that, you know, he's done some things that Drake insinuates is physical abuse towards his wife, and he also insinuates that one of the kids is not Kendrick Lamar's. And in the title, he's having fun with the situation, saying, "You clearly to you, family doesn't matter. And let me make it clear that family does matter." And the artwork resembles the 1989 sitcom Family Matters. It matches it completely, just a more updated version. And in the sitcom, there is this neighbor by the name of Steve Urkel. He is the main character of the show, and he is a nerdy character that tries to fit in a lot of different scenarios. And if you connect the dots on this, Drake is calling Kendrick Lamar a nerd. He's not really part of this gang street life. He is just this conscious backpack rapper. And he insinuates this throughout the whole track as well. He even starts out the verse saying that. And Drake's diss to Kendrick Lamar started out with him questioning his street credibility on push-ups as well. And he doubled that down when he did the Tailor Made freestyle, completely calling him out about not being a street rapper like he says he is. So it only makes sense he ties this in with Family Matters and Steve Urkel, aka the nerd in the show. Now let's get into the bars in this track, and it starts out with this intro, which is Drake's mom, Sandra, saying this. Maybe in this song, you shouldn't start by saying, and then Drake starts it out by saying the N-word. I said it. I know that you mad. I've emptied the clip over friendlier jabs. You mentioned my seed. Now deal with his dad. I gotta go bad. I gotta go bad. Drake off the rip is immediately responding to Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria, where he says he doesn't want to hear him say the N-word anymore. Drake starts the track off with the N-word. Then Drake continues and says, I've emptied the clip over friendlier jabs, meaning I've gone full on in other rap battles over friendlier things where we didn't get as serious. And then he says, you mentioned my seed, which is his son. Now deal with his dad. I gotta go bad. I gotta go bad. What is Drake referencing when he says you mentioned my seed? Well, Kendrick Lamar in Euphoria said this. Why would I call around trying to get dirt on guys? Y'all think my life is rap. That's I got a son to raise, but I can see you know nothing about that. Then he says, waking him up, you know nothing about that. Tell him to pray, you know nothing about that. They're giving him tools to walk through life day by day, know nothing about that. Teaching him morals, integrity, discipline. Listen, man, you don't know nothing about that. Speaking the truth and consider what God's considering, you don't know nothing about that. He's questioning the way Drake raises his son. So Drake doubles down and says, you know, you mentioned my seed, now got to go really bad. And then when he says, I got to go bad, he's referencing the Michael Jackson thing. Of course, Drake throughout this beef took the stance that he is Michael Jackson and that Kendrick Lamar is Prince. And if you guys remember, Michael Jackson released his Bad album after Thriller, where he had more of an edgier look and sound to him. So Drake is doubling down on the Michael Jackson reference that he always goes back to and says, I gotta go Michael Jackson bad on you. The chorus, there really isn't much layers to it. It's just a catchy chorus. Drop a 50 bag for the mob in the spot. Drop a 50 bag, 29 for the thought. And these bars, the 29 spot, he's referring to his Area 29, which is a Houston strip club. And he's just throwing bags of money. That's it. Then he says, I was really trying to keep it PG, meaning let's not go too far in this battle, but you're taking it there. Then Drake continues the hook and says, if you had a set, they'd give your ass a DP. A DP is short for disciplined. DPs happen in LA gang culture that if you embarrass the gang or you embarrass yourself with your ties to the gang, then you're going to get disciplined for it. The gang is going to beat your ass for doing that. And Drake is saying if Kendrick Lamar was actually tied to a gang, he would get disciplined for embarrassing his gang right now. But then Drake says, but you civilian gang, in real life, you PC. PC is protective custody. You're just a regular person that walks around getting protected by bodyguards. You're not really out there. And protective custody in prison is when you get put into an area that you can't leave to protect yourself from others that want to do harm to you. Usually when people ask for protective custody, they're scared for their lives in prison. Drake here is saying all Kendrick does is stay inside. He's never outside like that. And he's always, you know, blocked in and protected. He's not really out there like that, like I am. Now that we're done with the hook, this first portion of the track is a continuation of the ending of Push-Ups. And in this track, Family Matters, Drake matches Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria. of having 3 beat switches. And on the end of Push-Ups, he continues on what the ending was to that with this track. The first verse is the continuation of that, and then it switches to another beat and another beat. The first verse starts out saying, you know who really bang a set? My guy YG. You know who really bang a set? My guy Chuck T. And you know who even bang a set out there is CB. And Cole losing sleep on this, it ain't me. Like Drake has been doing throughout the whole battle, he's been questioning Kendrick Lamar's gang life. Is he actually a street guy? He's not. He's just a conscious rapper, is what Drake's been saying throughout this whole time. So he doubles down on that and says, YG, who's from the West Coast, is actually about the streets. Chuck D, who's actually the game. Chuck Taylor's his real name, but the game is actually from the streets. And then he even doubles down and says, even Chris Brown, who's an R&B singer, is from the streets and you're not. And then he clowns a little bit of J. Cole on this. He says, J. Cole losing sleep on this, but it ain't me. You know, with J. Cole's apology, people have been saying he's been losing sleep over, dissing Kendrick Lamar. And Drake is saying, I ain't J. Cole. I don't care about dissing you. It's not going to bother me at all. I'm going to lose no sleep over this. Now, in these next lines, Drake responds to some of the lines Kendrick Lamar had in Euphoria, where he suggested that Drake snitched for getting robbed. Drake says this, you better have some paperwork or that fake tea. Can't be rapping about no ratting that we can't read. I mean, it's true a guy slimed me for my AP. And on Euphoria, Kendrick Lamar insinuated that Drake snitched when he got robbed. On Euphoria, he said, I know some shit about guys that make Gunna want to look like a saint. And of course, Gunna has been alleged snitch in the whole YSL Rico thing. So in these lines, he was saying, hey, Gunna's, snitched, but Drake did even worse. So Drake in Family Matters is saying, there is no paperwork that I ever snitched at all. Then Drake says, can't be rapping about no ratting that we can't read, in which he's saying that paperwork, there's nothing that's even distinguishable in that paperwork. That Big Page, by the way, released. This is an artist that worked with Drake back in 2009 with the song Still Fly. On that track, things went left, and from there, Big Page ended up revealing the information that Drake got robbed in 2009 and then really revealed some paperwork where it looked like Drake snitched. Then he continues, says, I mean, it's true a guy slimed me for my AP. So he is admitting that, hey, I got robbed for my Audemars. And what happened that night in 2009, he and his date finished eating at a restaurant and had walked to Drake's SUV at the time. At the Beatrice Street moments after they got into the vehicle, 2 armed men approached Drake and demanded his money and jewelry. The then 23-year-old rapper complied, giving the perpetrators $2,000 in cash, an Audemars Piguet watch, and a diamond chain Lil Wayne had gifted him. So Drake is saying, hey, it happened. So what? But I never snitched about it. Now, this next line is interesting. He says, just like how Metro guys slimed him for his main squeeze. This is the deeper thing that I'm talking about when it comes to Drake and Metro Boomin. I don't think they had a fallout over a simple argument about who had album of the year, because that's the way people think it started. I think it's even deeper than that. If you guys remember, Metro Boomin tweeted this a while ago. He said, yet her loss still keeps winning rap album of the year over H&V. Proof that award shows are just politics and not for me. I don't care about that awards. Honestly, the true award and reward is knowing that the music I spent so much time brings joy to people's lives. This is where, people think the issues between Drake and Metro Boomin started, about him being kind of upset that, his album isn't getting praised as much as Drake and 21 Savage's Her Loss. Here's why I think it's deeper than that, because Metro Boomin tweeted this. He said, now go make another song telling more lies, because we both know you can't tell everyone why I don't fuck with you. That wouldn't be a good look either for you, so I'm going to spare us both with that. So something happened behind the scenes with Drake and Metro Boomin that Metro Boomin's like, I'm not even going to tell the world what it is because it's going to make you look so bad. Which now I'm very intrigued. What is that? What's the deeper meaning in this? Is it over females? Is it over money? Is it Drake doing something very slimy to somebody? Who knows? And Metro Boomin responded to those lines directly. He said, the drum thing was laughable, so I let it slide. But what we not going to do is spread lies and have my loved ones involved. Nobody ever hit my girl. We grew up together. She's a real woman and not even in the industry, but I guess you wouldn't know nothing about that, which he's referring to Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria. Continuing on, he says, out here begging for attention. Guys say please. And Drake is going back to the narrative that Kendrick Lamar never gets, praise or attention or anything unless he mentions people. He goes back to the Control verse where, before that, people weren't really caring about Kendrick like that. But then when the Control verse dropped, all of a sudden people started caring. And he's doubling down on that. He's saying when Like That dropped, now you got the attention you wanted. And then he continues and says, always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed. You just acting like an activist. It's make believe. Now, this is the theme of the whole track. And theme of Drake's disses. He's saying that, hey, you're not really living this life of you being this holy person that's always trying to help people like you're trying to free the slaves. That's how you sound like in your music. Then he says you're just acting like an activist. It's make-believe, meaning you don't really do things for your neighborhood and community like you say you do. Then Drake doubled downs on all that and says, don't even go back to your hood and plant no money trees. The Money Trees reference is Good Kid, Mad City, the track called Money Trees. And he's saying you don't really help out your neighborhood or your Compton neighborhood like you say you do. But there is rebuttals to this. There's a lot of stories of Kendrick Lamar helping people out, even former gang members that he was friends with.
Kendrick a real homie, though. A lot of niggas don't know that. Kendrick done paid for homies' funerals, you know, put money on homies' books. I'm on his album cover, To Pimp a Butterfly. In the front.
What? Wait, hold up.
Yeah, I'm in the front of him.
Look, he like, what?
And he was also given the key to the city by the mayor of Compton in 2016. So, you know, there's trails of him leaving money trees. Another thing that's really cool of him leaving money trees is the fact that Kendrick Lamar didn't copyright anybody that was actually reacting to his diss tracks. Yes, YouTubers got no copyright strikes at all. So that is planting money trees to a lot of YouTubers that are reacting to this stuff. I mean, usually when you react to a lot of songs on YouTube, they get copyrighted and you make no money off it. The record labels make the money. But with Kendrick Lamar, the story's out there that when people were reacting to Kendrick Lamar's music, there was no copyrights at all. So Kendrick is planting money trees. That's a lot of money trees. A lot of YouTubers had life-changing money that came to them because of these reactions. They got insane views from it that they normally don't get. And in these next lines, Drake responds directly to what Kendrick Lamar said in Euphoria about the women he's with. Kendrick said this, "We hate the bitches you fuck because they confuse themselves with real women. And notice I said we, it's not just me, I'm what the culture feeling." Drake then says this on Family Matters, "Say you hate the girls I fuck, but what you really mean. I've been with black and white and everything that's in between. You the black messiah, wifing up a mixed queen, and hit vanilla cream to help out with your self-esteem." The first two lines are simple. Hey, why do you hate the women I fuck? I get every type of women. I love black, white, Asian, piccolo, green, whatever the case may be, right? And then he says, you're the black messiah, wifing up a mixed queen. Basically, he's saying, Kendrick, you're always talking about black power, black this, black that, but your wife is mixed. She's not even fully black. Then he goes down a little bit deeper and he says, you hit vanilla cream to help out with your self-esteem. Vanilla cream, white women. He's saying you smash these white women just to help your self-esteem out. And Kendrick Lamar has talked about this on his Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers album on the track Worldwide Steppers, where he says, the first time I fucked a white bitch, I was 16 at the Palisades. Then he continues and actually talks to Kendrick's wife and says, on some Bobby shit, I want to know what Whitney need. Bobby Brown, who is dating Whitney Houston, he's kind of having a wordplay on there saying, on some Bobby shit, I want to know what she needs. All that puppy love was over in y'all late teens. Why you never hold your son and tell him say cheese? We could have left the kids out of this, don't blame me. He's just doubling down once again that Kendrick Lamar doesn't have a proper family. Kendrick Lamar isn't seen with his kids. He's not taking photos with them because he's insinuating that Kendrick Lamar isn't actually the father of his kids. He continues on and says, you a dog and you know it, you just play sweet. Dog meaning he's out here smashing all kinds of women, but he's not even loyal at all to his wife like he says he is. He's out here smashing all kinds of women being a dog. That's what men usually get referred to when they're out here being whores. Continuing on, he says, your baby mama captions always screaming, save me. You did her dirty all your life. You're trying to make peace. Drake here probably went on Kendrick Lamar's wife's Instagram, Whitney, and she has a lot of deep Instagram captions. It's not very anything simple. If you go through her page, which is Blushed by Wit on Instagram, you'll see she has a lot of deeper captions. It's not simple. So Drake here is saying she has these deep captions because she's screaming, save me. I want to be saved from this guy. Then Drake says, you did her dirty all your life. You're trying to make peace. And this is where he refers to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, where Kendrick Lamar lets out all of his sins on this album. He pretty much lets it know that, hey, I did bad in life. I've done bad in life. Now I'm getting karma for it. And I'm trying to apologize for all the things that I've done, including things that I've done to my family and my wife. And Drake is saying that album is you trying to wash your sins, make peace with everything that you've done wrong, and that you've done her really, really dirty throughout her life. And in this next line, this is where he insinuates that Kendrick Lamar's kids aren't really his. He says, I heard that one of them little kids might be Dave Freeze. Dave Freeze is a childhood friend of Kendrick Lamar's. He's the right-hand man of Kendrick, and he's one of the co-founding people of the new label PG Lang. And the reason why Drake insinuates this is because, you know, Dave Freeze comments a lot under Whitney's Instagram posts, you know, showing love heart emojis, and he actually uses this as the artwork for The Heart Part 6, which is another diss track towards Kendrick Lamar. So here he's insinuating that Dave Freeze is the one that actually, that's his kids. Then he says, don't make it Dave Freeze, because if your GM is your BM, secret BD, then this is all making plenty fucking sense to me. In these lines, he's saying GM, which is general manager, Kendrick Lamar's manager, is your BM, baby mama, which is Whitney, Kendrick Lamar's wife, secret baby daddy, BD. So he made it sound pretty good in these lines, actually, because if your GM is your BM, secret BD, then this is all making plenty fucking sense to me. This is where Drake in the track connects the dots. It's saying, okay, I get it now, why Dave Freeze making these comments under here, why you don't, you know, take pictures with your kids. Now in these next lines, he kind of has a play on with what Kendrick Lamar said on Euphoria, where, you know, you stand next to Sexy Red and you believe you see two bad bitches, you might pop ass with them. Drake says this, hey, let that shorty breathe, shake that ass, bitch, hands on your knees, hands on your knees, hands on your knees, shake that ass for Drake, now shake that ass for free. Yeah, well, not that kind of free, I'm talking about my guy Dave. The first line, let that shorty breathe, probably saying that, hey, Kendrick Lamar puts his hands on her, or saying that, hey, he doesn't let her do anything, doesn't let her, you know, go outside the house, because he's going off of the captions that Whitney is posting. He's saying that she's stuck in the house, she doesn't get to do anything. He's saying, let that shorty breathe. Then he's having a play on with his track, Rich Baby Daddy, which is on For All the Dogs, featuring Sexy Red. He's doing this twerking thing, shake that ass. He's telling Whitney, shake her ass, shake it. And then he's saying, shake that ass for Drake, now shake that ass for free, which is a double entendre, because he's saying shake it for free without me having to pay you. And then he reveals towards, he's like, I'm not saying free as in not me paying you, but shake it for Dave Free, your actual baby daddy. Then in this next line, he says, your man a Lil K, we call that shit a mini Drake. This is another response to Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria, where he talks about the Draco and how the first time he shot one, he aimed it too low, and now he learned his lesson. So Drake's responding saying, your man's a Lil K, meaning Kendrick Lamar is a really, really tiny, small guy, and we call that shit a mini Drake. It's a small gun. You're nothing like that. And then he continues, says, he always said I overlook him. I was staring straight. And in these lines, he's of course making fun of Kendrick's height, but he's saying, when I look straight, you're so short that it looks like I'm overlooking you, when I wasn't overlooking you this whole time. But it is like that because you're so short compared to me. Then he doubles down on the making fun of height thing. He says, these bars go over Kenny's head no matter what I say. Meaning that it's a double entendre, meaning that Kendrick Lamar is short, so no matter what he says, it's always going to go over him, but also that he doesn't understand these lyrics. Then he follows up again with making fun of his height, saying, I know you like to keep it short. Kendrick Lamar is short, so let me paraphrase. Knew it was smoke when Abel hit us with that serenade. Guy said, almost started reaching for my waist. And here he's saying, I knew that things started to get serious when The Weeknd started dissing me, because he's an R&B singer. Usually R&B singers don't get involved with beef. And then he doubles that down by saying he hit us with a serenade, which is a romantic musical piece performed by a man for his lover. And then he's saying, making fun of The Weeknd singing, the fact that The Weeknd singing and dissing him. And the fact that an R&B singer is getting involved in the beef, he feels like that's when it gets really serious. So then he says, almost started reaching for my waist, meaning the gun. Now let's get into the second verse of Drake's Family Matters, and this is where the beat switches to a totally different sound. He starts it off by saying, if Drake's shooter's doing TikToks, realest shooter in your gang, that's P's brother, y'all ain't getting shit shot. This is a direct response to The Weeknd's song All to Myself, which was on that Future Metro Boomin We Still Don't Trust You album, where he says, and their shooters doing TikToks. This was aimed at Drake's alleged shooter, Baka Not Nice, who is on TikTok and does TikToks dancing and stuff like that. Then Drake takes it deeper in the next line and says, realest shooters in your gang, that's P's brother, y'all ain't getting shit shot. Drake references P's, who's Preem/P Rain's brother, who is Gilla, who represents Reps Up. Drake here is saying The Weeknd's XO crew has no real shooter, and the one shooter that they do have is actually brothers with one of Drake's OVO people. So Drake here is saying the realest guy that you have in your crew that's the most gangsta is actually related to our guy who's gangsta as well. And the crazy thing is, The Weeknd alluded to this on the Nav song Price on My Head featuring The Weeknd. In the song, he says, guys on your side, they would ride for me too. And then the video actually shows Gilla, who is P's brother.
You're beefing with yourself, tell the truth. Niggas on your side, they would ride for me too.
So The Weeknd's been taking subliminal shots at Drake for quite a minute as well, and I would love to break that down in the future. And then Drake says, can't listen to stick talk and falsetto, save it for hip-hop. He's saying, listen, I can't hear you talk about, guns, which is stick talk, when you're, R&B, you're singing this stuff. Save it for hip-hop artists who actually can deliver the message the proper way. And then this is where Drake doubles down on The Weeknd running away from Toronto and living in Los Angeles. He says, you don't even be at home, dog. You a souvenir out the gift shop. And tourists, when they visit places, they buy souvenirs. So he's saying he's over there. He's basically a souvenir. And then in this next line, Drake breaks down where he thinks the issues between him and The Weeknd started, because at one point they were cool. Then they had issues. Then they were cool. And now they got issues again. So Drake says, still mad about that one hoe. We ain't even fuck. I just lip locked with her. Here he is talking about Bella Hadid, who at one point The Weeknd was actually dating, and once they broke up, Drake ended up hooking up with her, and he said, listen, I didn't even go that far with her. I just kissed her, and that's it. And you're still in your feelings over it. And the next line he says, I get active when it's wartime. I ain't even really let my dick drop, meaning I ain't let my balls hang, man. This is nothing. I can take it to the next level. And then these next lines, he actually goes at Rick Ross. He says, what the fuck? I heard Rick drop talking something about a nose job. Ozempic got a side effect of jealousy, and a doctor never told y'all. Put a guy in the bars, let a guy rot, kind of like your old job. And here Drake is referencing the Rick Ross diss track that he released called Champagne Moments. And in that track, he was talking about Drake potentially having a nose job and being called BBL Drizzy and all these procedures he's had on him. And then also Drake talks about Ozempic, which is a weight loss drug. And he's saying Rick Ross took that weight loss drug and there's a side effect to it of being jealous of other people, which is not a real side effect, but this is what Drake is saying the drug did to Rick Ross. Then Drake says, put a guy in the bars, let a guy rot, kind of like your old job, which is referencing Rick Ross being a former correctional officer. That used to be his job when he was 19, 20 years old. Then Drake says this, bitches got to drive 2 hours for you to pay him just to give a blowjob. What Drake is doing here is clowning Rick Ross's mansion, because they were fighting on social media about who has bigger houses. Rick Ross has been talking this extravagant lifestyle on his social media posts, clowning Drake. But Drake is saying your house is in the middle of nowhere. That's why you bought it. It's a lot cheaper. And if you know about purchasing houses or land, the better location it is, the more expensive it costs. And Drake here is saying it's in the middle of nowhere, so it's cheap. And that's why Rick Ross bought it. Then Drake says, must have snorted up a snowball, because my last record deal was 400 M's. These days, that's a low ball. When he's saying must have snorted up a snowball, he's talking about, snorting cocaine. And Rick Ross is one to talk about moving drugs all the time in his tracks and that persona that he puts. So he's saying, you snort so much cocaine, you don't even know what you're talking about. You're delusional. Then when he says, because my record deal was 400 M's, these days, that's a low ball, he's clowning Rick Ross for talking about money, because Drake is saying, just my record deal alone got me $400 million. You're nowhere near me when it comes to money. Then Drake continues and says, hey, who's next on the list? Which one of my so-called guys? Which one of my so-called guys need a shell from the clip? Always knew I had to smoke y'all. He's just saying, listen, it's a 20v1. Who else do I got to go at? Now he shifts his attention back to Kendrick Lamar. He says, good kid, Mad City van will pop the latch and let the door slide. Here he's talking about Kendrick Lamar's childhood van, in which he used for the cover of Good Kid, Mad City. He's saying, we'll use that van, go to where you're at, we'll pull up and do a drive-by. Then Drake says, tears running down my cheek, laughing at you pussies dying, it's a war cry. Then he switches his attention to The Weeknd again and says, Weeknd's music getting played in all the spots where boys got a little more pride. That's why all your friends dip into Atlanta, paying just to find a tour guide. Here he says The Weeknd's music mainly gets played for LGBTQ people, that community, and that's why he goes to Atlanta, because Atlanta is known as the capital for that community. Then Drake continues and says, Abel, which is The Weeknd's real name, run your fucking bread, need to buy some more chains for some more guys. Let me find another street guy I can take to the game courtside. Let me get a used Ferrari for a rapper, take the guy on a horse ride, anything to take the spotlight off the fact that the boss is a drugged out little punk sissy from the north side. Here he is saying The Weeknd's manager Cash XO uses The Weeknd's money for a lot of different extravagant things, whether it is to pretend he's actually a street guy by getting street guys to go to courtside basketball games, whether it's blowing bread to buy chains, a used Ferrari, just to give this experience that The Weeknd is this mob boss that has all these people around him. But then Drake says it's all a facade. It's smoke and mirrors. The Weeknd doesn't move like a mob boss like that. He's just using this money to try to make it look like that, because he says anything to take the spotlight off the fact that the boss is a drugged out little punk sissy from the north side, which is north side Toronto. Then Drake switches his attention to A$AP Rocky, who dissed him on the track Show of Hands, where he says, guys and their feelings over women, who hurt you or something. I smashed before you birthed, son. Flacco hit it first, son. Drake responds to that and says, rock him talking shit again, which is A$AP Rocky's real name. Gassed because you hit my baby mama first. Do the math. Who was I hitting then? It's been rumored, and the stories around that A$AP Rocky actually slept with Drake's baby mama, Sophie, who actually birthed, obviously, Adonis, and now, they're a family. Drake is flipping that and saying, if you smashed my baby mama at the time, who was I smashing at the time? He then flips and says he's smashing Rihanna, which is his baby mama now. Then Drake says, I ain't even know you rapped still, because they only talking about your fit again. Probably got to have a kid again before you think of dropping any shit again. Even when you do drop, they gonna say you should have modeled because it's mid again. This is Drake clowning A$AP Rocky for not being consistent musically at all. And that A$AP Rocky's only been focusing on fashion throughout all these years, and musically nobody cares about him. Then Drake says, smoking Fenty about it, should have put you on the first one trying to get it in. Smoking Fenty is a double entendre because he can be talking about smoking fentanyl. Also, it could be talking about smoking Rihanna's Fenty line of makeup. Then when Drake said should have put you on the first one trying to get it in, he's responding to A$AP Rocky saying, call up Pluto, Metro should have put me on the first one, which is the first album, We Don't Trust You. Instead, A$AP Rocky got put on the second one, We Still Don't Trust You. Then Drake continues and says, ask Fring if this is a good idea the next time you cuddled in that bed again. She'll even tell you leave the boy alone before you get your head split again. Fring was Drake's nickname to Rihanna when they were dating. The nickname originates from the Breaking Bad character Gustavo Fring, and that was Rihanna's favorite character on the show. She loved him. Aaron Paul, who actually plays Jesse Pinkman on the Breaking Bad show, has talked about meeting Rihanna and Drake and how ecstatic they were meeting him.
Found out that Drake was a giant Breaking Bad fan.
Yeah, I mean, we randomly met in Paris in a parking garage. I just got out of my car. And he was,
this is so
as
perfect.
one would.
As one does, yeah.
And he was just with a bunch of people getting ready to get into a van. I'm like, oh my God, there's Drake. And then he just looks at me and just runs over and just gives me the biggest hug and told me that he loved me and I love him. Yeah. Wow. It was great. It was a good moment between us.
That's so cool.
Yeah. He told me that he got Rihanna into the show.
Yeah.
Continue on, Drake switches his attention to Future. And he says this, Pluto shit make me sick to my stomach. We ain't really been through it. So here Drake confirms that with him and Future, there really isn't anything deep. And then he goes in the next line and explains what he thinks made Future go at him. He says, Leland Wayne, he a fucking lame, so I know he had to be an influence. Leland Wayne is the real name of Metro Boomin. He's saying Metro Boomin is probably the one that tricked you into thinking that I have issues with you and roped you into dissing me and all this stuff. Because he continues to says, these guys had a plan and they finally found a way to rope you into it. 2 separate albums dissing, I just did a Kim to it, skim through it. Here he's saying that he listened to both albums, but he didn't really listen to every single track. He just skimmed through it. And it's a double entendre because Kim Kardashian has her own clothing line, which is Skims. In this next line, he could be taking a little subliminal shot at Kanye West. He says, me and Savage had the hose dripping wet at the shows, almost had to swim to it. In the previous line, he mentions Kim Kardashian's clothing line, Skims. And in the next line, he mentions Wet. Wet is a clothing t-shirt brand that Kanye West has released that's been very popular recently. And here he's kind of having a play on words saying he already had the women wet at his shows with 21 Savage. Then Drake shifts his attention to Kendrick Lamar again and says K-Dot shit is only hitting hard when Baby Keem put his pen to it. Here he's saying that Baby Keem, which is an artist signed to Kendrick Lamar's label PG Lang, is ghostwriting for Kendrick Lamar. Then Drake switches his attention again to Rick Ross and says, Ross called me the white boy and the shit kind of got a ring to it because all these rappers waving white flags while the whole fucking club sing to it. Rick Ross is calling Drake the white boy because, he's clowning him about being light-skinned and that he's always wanted to be white with the nose job surgery thing. But Drake is saying, I'm embracing that title because it makes sense because all you guys are going to wave the white flags. And if you wave the white flag, it means you surrender. Then Drake says, murder scene on your man tonight, then come to the vigil with the candlelight. When people pass away at a certain location, people will come put candlelights there, to show respect of their passing. And Drake is saying, when I murder them, that's what people are going to start doing. He follows that up saying, body after fucking body. And Rick is reading my Miranda rights. Police officers read their Miranda rights to people before they get arrested. And Drake here is clowning the fact that Rick Ross used to be a police officer. Then Drake says, I'm going on vacation now. Hope next time y'all plan it right because you got to pay for saying my name. Guess now guys understand the price. Here he's just clowning everybody saying I have to come back into music to destroy you guys because I was planning on going on vacation after my tour. Because if you guys don't remember, back when Drake released For All the Dogs, he did say he would take a little hiatus from music, but now he's back to address all these clowns. Now comes the third part in the song, which is another beat switch, and this part is mainly dedicated to Kendrick Lamar. He starts the verse saying, "Hey, Kendrick just opened his mouth. Someone go hand him a Grammy right now." This is Drake clowning Kendrick Lamar for the fact that he always gets Grammys. Every single year he drops an album or a single or a song, he always wins the Grammy for that. And this could be because of the fact that they got the first Grammy nomination so wrong with giving it to Macklemore, and ever since then the Grammys probably felt guilty, and now they always give him Grammys every time he drops an album. And Drake is clowning that, making fun of that, saying, hey, the second Kendrick Lamar drops something, he automatically gets a Grammy. Then he says, "Where's your uncle at? Because I want to talk to the man of the house." And this bar is referencing Kendrick Lamar's track Auntie Diaries off the Mr. Morale and Big Steppers, where he addresses his aunt turning into an uncle being transgender. Drake here is clowning Kendrick Lamar and saying, "You're not the real man of the household. Let me talk to the transgender that became a man." Then Drake says, "West Coast guys do fades right. Come get this ass whooping. I'm handing them out." West Coast, of course, fades is a fight. And Drake here is saying, "I'm going to whoop your ass," because Kendrick said it on Euphoria where he says, "I'm Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm whooping feet." Whooping feet is whooping somebody's ass as well. West Coast slang. Then Drake says, "You want to take up for Pharrell? Then come get his legacy out of my house." This is a direct response to Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria, where he says, "I don't like you popping shit at Pharrell. For him, I inherit the beef." Drake is saying, "Hey, if you really want to take up for Pharrell, come to my house and get all of his jewelry that I bought." Then Drake says, "A cease and desist is for hoes. Can't listen to lies that come out of your mouth. You called the Tupac estate and begged them to sue me and get that shit down." This is another direct response to Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria, where he says, "Try a cease and desist on the Like That record. Ho, what, you ain't like that record?" Drake responds and says, "I never sent a cease and desist out. That's some ho shit. That's false information." But then he flips it on Kendrick and says, "You're the one that sent a cease and desist because you called Tupac's estate to threaten to sue me if I don't remove the tailor-made freestyle where he used Tupac's AI voice to diss Kendrick." Which, hey, Tupac's estate did do that. They did send a cease and desist and threaten to sue Drake if he didn't remove the track. But was it through Kendrick Lamar? We'll never know. Drake continues and says, "I'm losing perspective on beef. Boy Wenda send him beat and I'll kill you for fun." Basically saying, hey, Boy Wenda got the production. Boom, just sends me a beat and I'll destroy anybody. Then Drake continues and says, "Your daddy got robbed by Top. You stunner and Wayne like father, like son." And this is referring to Kendrick Lamar's track called Duckworth on his damn album, where he reveals that Top, the person who signed him to TDE, was planning on robbing a KFC where his dad, Kenny Duckworth, actually worked at. But according to Kendrick Lamar, his dad, Kenny, really treated Top really well, and he didn't end up robbing him because Kenny gave him some extra food. But Drake is flipping and saying your dad actually got robbed by Top.
Yeah. Your dad was working at KFC.
Yep.
Top Dog went in to rob KFC.
Mm-hmm.
Is this right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've written songs about this.
Yeah.
And he meets your father.
Mm-hmm.
And Top Dog's got a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad somehow thinks, I don't want to get into any shit with this guy. I'm going to charm him.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even offer him some free KFC.
Mm-hmm.
And
True
maybe,
story.
right, and maybe he'll, won't get violent.
Mm-hmm.
And Top Dog liked your father.
True story.
And did not rob the KFC because of your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're working with Top Dog.
Funny how life is, right?
And then he alludes to the same thing he alluded to in the push-ups track, saying you're getting robbed by your contract because you stunning like Wayne, like father, like son. Where Wayne got robbed in his contract with Birdman, he's saying the same thing is happening to you with Top. Drake then doubles down on the whole business issues that Kendrick Lamar has and says Anthony set up the plays. Kojo be charging you double for nothing. Anthony is the real name of Top, and Kojo is one of the songwriters / producers in TDE. He's saying you're getting robbed by these guys. He's saying that Top sets up this play for you to get robbed by Kojo. Usually if you set up to rob something, you set up a play to make sure that you can get away with the robbery without the other people noticing. Then Drake continues and says, they shook about what I'ma say, but texting your phone like we already won. You tell me what I shouldn't say, but fuck it, my guy, it's already done. And this is Drake playing on the fact that they think they won this battle already. That, hey, we dropped Euphoria, we're winning, and then you said in Euphoria what I can't say and what I shouldn't say. But fuck it, we're already here. Then Drake says, we already know it's a 20 we won. We already know why you went number one. It's clearly because of the boy. The honorable thing is to give me the loot. And here he is saying the Like That track, which is dissing him with Kendrick, Future, Metro Boomin, only went number one because they mentioned Drake. And Drake here is saying the honorable thing to do, the respectable thing to do, is to give me the money that you made from disrespecting me. Then Drake continues and says, "You write about fuck the big three, it's only Big D, and there's video proof." Drake here is doubling down on what Kendrick Lamar said on Like That, where he says, fuck the big three, it's just Big Me. He's saying, yeah, fuck the big three. There is no big three, and it's just me, Big D. Big D is referring to the leaked video of Drake where he's, doing things with his genitalia, and, people are saying that he had a big schlong. I don't want to say the word, but you get what I'm getting at here. And, that's what he's playing on. He's saying, I have the big D. It's only me, and that's it. Drake then says, our sons should go play at the park. Two light-skinned kids, that shit would be cute. Unless you don't want to be seen with anyone that isn't blacker than you. And this is Drake flipping what Kendrick Lamar has said about him, about being light-skinned. But a lot of people interpreted what Kendrick Lamar said isn't about his skin color, but mainly about the fact that he isn't from the culture, that he's an outsider. But Drake takes it a different way and says that it's about skin color and that you would be embarrassed being around anybody that isn't blacker than you. So you're this messiah always preaching about black things, but your kids are mixed and your wife is mixed as well. Then Drake says, we get it, we got it. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. We get it that you like to put gin in your juice. We get that you think that you bishop and juice. With this blacker the berry, sweeter the juice line, he's referencing Kendrick Lamar's The Blacker the Berry track on To Pimp a Butterfly. And then he says, we get that you like to put gin in your juice. And gin and juice is a West Coast thing that Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg have kind of put on for the West Coast. And here he's saying, we know that you're super West Coast. We know that you're all about being black. And then he doubles down and says, we get that you think you bishop and juice. Bishop was a character played by Tupac in the movie Juice. And here he's saying you think you're Tupac in this situation. Then Drake continues and says, when you put your hands on your girl is a self-defense because she's bigger than you. This is where Drake doubles down on Kendrick Lamar having domestic violence things related to his wife. And he's saying you're smaller than your wife, so if you put your hands on her, is that self-defense, meaning that usually when somebody's bigger and attacking you, they're the actual ones that are the aggressors and a lot more dangerous. Here he's flipping and saying, you're not the dangerous one. Your wife put your hands on you and it's over. Then Drake says, your back is against the curb. You digging for dirt, should be digging for proof. Here Drake is saying you're reaching out to try to get information, but Kendrick Lamar in Euphoria said, I don't really reach out. I could care less. I'm not really that invested into rap. I'm more invested in my family. So Drake is doubling down saying you're trying to dig for this dirt, but you're not finding anything deep. And even the dirt that you are finding, you have no proof for. You're just throwing things out there and assuming things. Then Drake questions Kendrick Lamar's moves and if he's actually close to his wife like he says he is. He says this, why did you move to New York? Is it because you live in that bachelor life? Proposed in 2015, but don't want to make her your actual wife. I'm guessing this wedding ain't happening right because we know the girls that you actually like. Here Drake is saying Kendrick moved to New York to get away from his wife so he can just go sleep with a bunch of women and that he doesn't have attraction to his fiance, saying that he's just making it look like he's attracted to her to have this clean image, but in reality he wants to sleep with all these women. Then Drake says your darkest secrets are coming to light. It's all on your face like what happened to Mike. Drake here flips things and starts to make the connection that maybe Kendrick Lamar is actually Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson suffered from something called vitiligo, which made his skin eventually turn lighter and lighter and lighter. And when you have vitiligo, you're very sensitive to light. Drake is then saying, we can see it on your face that all the little dark secrets are coming to light. And Michael Jackson's face went from dark to light. Then in the next line is where Drake makes the connection. He says, oh shit, it's all making sense. Maybe I'm Prince and you're actually Mike. And then he says Michael was praying his features would change so people believe that he's actually white. Top will make you do features for change, get on pop records, and rap for the whites. And in these lines, Drake is flipping Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria once again, where he says, how many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough? In the lines, Michael was praying his features would change so people believe that he's actually white. Here he's saying Michael Jackson had a nose job, so his nose was slimmer, more like white people's, and that he changed his skin tone to be more white and more appealing. And he's saying Kendrick Lamar is doing the same thing because in the next line he says, Top, who's obviously the owner of TDE, would make you do features for change to get money. He's saying, get on pop records, which you normally don't do, and rap for the white people for the mainstream. The record like Bad Blood with Taylor Swift, which obviously we know Taylor Swift is more for a white mainstream crowd. And he's saying, you're the one that's catering to whites, just like Michael Jackson catered to being more of a white person. Now, in these next lines, he flips the whole Michael Jackson thing and involves J. Cole. He says, and wait, you say your brother's Jermaine, but you wanted him to stay out of the light. Michael Jackson had a brother, Jermaine, and of course, he was the main superstar in this. He took up all the superstar power Michael Jackson did, and Jermaine and everybody else in the Jackson 5 didn't get the spotlight like Michael Jackson did. So he's flipping it and saying, you took the spotlight from J. Cole himself by getting him out of this battle, and you say you're only big me, no big three, meaning I'm the best, I'm the top one, you guys are nothing, you guys are below me. But Drake says, hey, that's your brother, right? If that's your brother, why would you want him to be below you? Why would you take him out of the spotlight and take all the spotlight for yourself? Then Drake says, oh shit, just follow me, right? Because nothing you saying could bother me, right? He says, I get off the plane and nothing has changed. I head to Delilah with all of my ice. Head to Delilah with all of my ice. Head to Delilah with all of my ice. This shit got to be over by now for anyone out here that's calling it right. And here Drake is responding directly once again to Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria, where he says, extortion my middle name as soon as you jump off that plane, bitch. Drake is saying, I got off the plane and nothing has changed. You haven't done nothing. You didn't extort me. You didn't take my chains. And he says, I'm going to Delilah, which is a restaurant in Los Angeles, with all of my chains, and you won't do anything about it. Drake then says, you're dead, you're dead. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. You know what I mean. Then he says they hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact that you beat on your queen. The picture you painted ain't what it seemed. And here Drake is saying there was a history that Kendrick Lamar put his hands on a female, but it got cleaned up from the internet because his crisis management team did that. And the story that Drake is referring to that got scrubbed allegedly out of the media and everything is this old story from Media Takeout where it alleges that Kendrick Lamar beat a woman, not Whitney herself, but a different woman at a Hard Rock hotel. Now, this is what Media Takeout says in their article, What Happened That Night. Media Takeout was sent a video interview of a woman claiming to be a security guard at the Hard Rock on the night of the alleged assault. In the video, she claimed that while on duty, a Caucasian young woman called security for help and was a bloody mess when they found her. The alleged security guard claims that the police were contacted and that the victim planned on pressing charges against Kendrick. Then they said we watched the full video interview and she seemed very believable. So there is no proof that any of this happened. Kendrick Lamar ended up addressing this in the Breakfast Club interview and said that it was all false.
No way this is true.
Yeah.
When they said you were in Vegas and you beat some guy bloody and you did something to some female.
Yeah.
And they said they had evidence and all of this. And then I never heard anything about it again.
Yeah, because it's foolishness.
Mhm.
That's the most ignorant stuff I've ever heard made up.
I was like, Kendrick did that? I doubt it.
And, you know, that person, whoever made that up, owes an apology. Not to me, but to women that actually go out there and get abused. You dig what I'm saying?
So Drake in these lines is saying that did happen, but it was just cleaned up. The video evidence was cleaned up because at the Hard Rock Hotel, there is bound to be cameras everywhere. And if there was a police report that was written, everybody would have known about it. But Drake is saying the crisis management team cleaned that up for us to never find out about it until now. Then Drake ends the track off by saying the picture you painted ain't what it seemed, you're dead. Basically calling Kendrick Lamar out. You're not a loyal husband. You put your hands on your wife. The kids aren't even yours, and so on and so forth. Clowning Kendrick Lamar for everything being phony. Now let's break down the Drake Family Matters music video. It starts out with him having a spinning G-Unit chain, which was actually custom made by Johnny Dang. It's not an official G-Unit spinner chain. He made that and then he stops and throws the middle finger. In the first half of the video, he takes a van that resembles the Good Kid Mad City van on the cover. However, people have pointed out that this isn't the exact van. The van that's on the cover of Good Kid Mad City is a Chrysler Town and Country, but the van that Drake destroys is a Dodge Caravan. They look very similar, but they have a little bit slight different details. However, in the video, he's crushing it, which is resembling Drake crushing Kendrick Lamar's career and his whole life story. And then in the music video, when he gets to the beat switch portion, the second half of the track, there is footage of a car that looks like one of those funeral cars that takes caskets and drives them to different locations. And in the music video, there's just different angles of the location where the casket would be if it was in the car. Now, the third portion of the song is where Drake drops himself in the video, and he's actually moving around a lot more. And it starts out at New Ho King, which Kendrick Lamar mentioned at Euphoria that he'll pull up there, you know, with the blammy with a gun, and nobody will do anything. Well, Drake pulled up at New Ho King himself. In the video, he has the New Ho King restaurant owner wearing all of Pharrell's chains. When he raps the bars, you want to take up for Pharrell, then come get his legacy out of my house. The guy's holding up all of the old Pharrell chains that Drake bought. Then when Drake raps about the Tupac estate, he shows the certification letter and the Tupac ring that he bought for $1 million. He then also shows two cakes, one saying happy co-parenting, which is poking fun at the fact that Dave Free might be the father of one of Kendrick Lamar's kids, and the other cake says happy divorce, which is poking more fun at the fact that Kendrick Lamar and his wife might end up getting a divorce and never getting married in the first place. Then later on in the video, it shows Drake recording in the studio. With that, it also pans to him having a bunch of memorabilia from Michael Jackson or just collectibles that relate to Michael Jackson. Now, towards the end of the video, this is where it gets interesting because there's two different angles that people have, and it shows Drake meeting up with somebody. At first, people thought this was 1090 Jake, an informant, a person who breaks down people that snitch and stuff like that and goes deep dives into street things. But people have speculated that it's probably him, or people speculate that person is part of Hell's Angels, which is a huge motorcycle gang, not only in Oakland, California, but also a big gang in Ontario, Canada. So Drake here might be insinuating that he's got ties not only in the area where Kendrick's from, but also where he's at. Then at the end of the video, you see Drake holding up a ring type chain, and people speculated that this was Kendrick Lamar's wedding ring for his wife, Whitney, that he never gave her. However, this is where Kendrick Lamar flipped this whole entire story, and it showed that Kendrick Lamar has a mole in the OVO camp, because right when this video came out, literally 40 minutes later, Kendrick Lamar dropped Meet the Grams, and on the artwork of Meet the Grams, there is a receipt where Drake bought a ring for around $60,000. So Kendrick Lamar, by responding that quickly, debunked the theory that Drake was throwing out there of the fact that he bought, Kendrick Lamar's wedding ring for his wife, Whitney. He debunked that and basically showed that Drake himself bought that ring to make it seem like it's the wedding ring that I had for my wife. But that's it for the breakdown of Family Matters. Let me know what you guys think from the music video to the song. What do you guys rank the track as? And I'm going to be breaking down Meet the Grams, Not Like Us, and The Heart Part 6, which is all coming soon. I might end up skipping Meet the Grams because the artwork itself is having a lot of stories and details coming out as I record these videos. So I might skip that, go straight to Not Like Us and The Heart Part 6, and then get back to Meet the Grams. New music, let's get into it. A Boogie with a Hoodie dropped the Better Off Alone album. Billie Eilish dropped the Hit Me Hard and Soft album. Childish Gambino dropped the Advocista album. Saweetie dropped Nani. 42 Doug dropped Win With Us. T-Pain dropped Oh This Hill. Russ and Black dropped Working On Me. And that's it for new music. Album sales, let's get into it. Taylor Swift is still number one with the Tortured Poets selling 259,000 copies. Gunna debuts at number two, One of One at 83,000 sold. That's not bad, man. Morgan Wallen's at number 3 with One Thing at a Time with 74,000 sold. Future Metro Boomin, We Don't Trust You is at number 4 with 52,000 sold. Morgan Wallen, Dangerous Double Albums at number 5 with 43,000 sold. Noah Khan, Stick Season number 6 with 41,000 sold. Zach Bryan is at number 7 with 37,000 sold. SZA SOS number 8 with 37,000 sold. Benson Bone, Fireworks, and Rollerblades at number 9 with 35,000 sold. Beyonce, Cowboy Carter at number 10 with 35,000 sold. The Beef Effect, Kendrick Lamar, Damn is at number 15 with 27,000 sold. That's the highest it's been in a minute. Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City is at number 20 with 24,000 sold. Travis Scott, Utopia, number 23 with 23,000 sold. Drake, For All the Dogs, number 25 with 23,000 sold. Chief Keef debuted at number 28 with Almighty Sosa 2 with 22,000 sold. Shout out to him. Future Metro Boomin, We Still Don't Trust You, number 29 with 22,000 sold. Going down the list, 21 Savage, American Dream at 41 with 18,000 sold. Glorilla, Everything at number 48 with 17,000 sold. Great numbers, man. It seems like a lot of the Kendrick Lamar older projects are going up. So, yeah. And that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. I appreciate you guys for being patient in the episode delays and all that stuff. Just bear with me for these next 2 weeks. I don't want to say anything longer. I'm just trying to break down these tracks. Once I get that out the way, delays will happen no longer. It just takes a while for me to break down these tracks and then add it to the podcast. So that's really the delays. Of course, show love to Golden Eagle Energy Drink. They sponsored all season 4 of the podcast. So go to drinkgoldeneagle.com/DMP. Get yourself a 24-pack, man. Support them because they're supporting us. Spotify, Deezer, Podcast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.